Mike Tomlin, in his 6th season, he's led the Steelers to at least 10 wins in 4 of his 5 years. And Pat Shurmur, in his 2nd season with the Cleveland Browns as head coach, a former college center at Michigan State. They've had the flip of the coin. Steelers won. They have deferred, so Cleveland will be receiving. Solomon, what kind of game do you expect today?
I expect it to be a low-scoring game. Remember, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have to protect their third-string quarterback, Charlie Batch. They cannot have him knocked out of today's game against this Browns defense. And remember, rookie quarterbacks tend to struggle against Dick LeBeau's defense. So if you're Cleveland, you've got to hand the ball off to Trent Richardson, allow the running game to fuel your offensive attack.
Squeeze them to kick off. Krebs is deep. It's the Steelers and the Browns, and away we go in Cleveland, Ohio. Out of bounds, out of the backfield, over the head of Krebs to the 20. Which will bring out Cleveland rookie quarterback Brandon Weeden. He was a bit inconsistent at times last week in Dallas, but just 1 interception thrown in 3 of the last 4 games for the Browns.
Again, against this 3-4 zone blitz defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's high-stakes poker for Brandon Weeden. He said he has to be patient, and he can't miss throws today. Few opportunities. You got to be careful in what you read and how you react.
His 55% completion percentage, number 31 in the NFL. And 1st and 10 from the 20. And across the middle, Josh Gordon. He is a rookie from Baylor. Out of bounds. Mike Taylor got a hand on him. The catch and run to the 46. A 26-yard pickup and a 1st down.
Well, it's just a nice little crossing route by Gordon. Watch him coming across the formation. Timmons can't stay with him there. And he can outrun and outflank the defense. And watch as 2 defenders, that's Ryan Clark, who I think is still on the ground and yet to come back into the game.
Ryan Monday will take the place of Clark. It is 1st and 10. Trent Richardson. Looks like Foot got a hold on him, as did the linebacker Harrison, on a gain of a couple to the 48-yard line. Boy, they like their offensive tackles here. The Pro Bowl player every season, Joe Thomas, and the rookie right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz, has proven to be a very good 2nd-round draft choice. And running back Trent Richardson touched the ball 34 times last week. He clearly is their offensive focus.
Well, he was drafted for games such as this in the tough AFC North division. He's got to fuel the offensive attack.
On 2nd and 7, good block by Mack, the center, going deep and almost picked off. I think that the defensive back Allen lost the ball in the Ohio Sun.
And Will Allen should have intercepted this throw. This ball is poorly underthrown by Brandon Weeden. And look, and Travis Benjamin was open on the play. He had gotten behind the defense. You can see Allen mistimed it and dropped the throw. We talked to Mike Tomlin about the inability to get turnovers, particularly interceptions, for this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They only have 5 interceptions all season long.
Ryan Clark is back in the secondary, 3rd and 7 for Weeden. That was deflected and it's intercepted. It's Timmons with the ball off to the races, and he will take it all the way for a Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown.
How about the timing of that? That's Timmons getting his team-leading 3rd interception of the season, only after the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. And Weeden is wishing he had this one back. This ball's going to be deflected at the line of scrimmage. Watch as it leaves and hovers over the line. There is the bat right there. Falls right in the hands of Timmons. He's had more interceptions than anyone in the secondary for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A pick 6 for this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, Kevin. We told you Weeden had to be careful on every single throw against this defense.
Brett Kiesel was the one to have the ball ricochet off his palm. A 53-yard return. Here is the extra point now by Sweezum. And just like that, it's 7-0 Steelers. 13:49 to play in the 1st. Deflected by Kiesel, returned by Timmons, and a quick 6 for the Steelers. Well, this is the #1 defense in the NFL of the Steelers.
Remember, they won the toss, but they elected to put the defense out there first. You know, they want to save Charlie Batch and go with their strength, which has always been their defense.
Gibbs lets it sail overhead. So back out to the 20 with the touchback. 1st and 10 for the Browns.
Take a look. Here's the intended receiver, the crosser there, but it's going to get Timmons is going to drop out here and then make the pick by coming forward after the ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage. There you see the crosser right there. It's going to be Little, and then watch. Look, ball's going to be tipped at the line of scrimmage, and there is Timmons breaking on it coming downhill. Just as the ball is clearing the line of scrimmage, it is deflected, hovers in the air, and Timmons makes a great play on the ball. That's just good team defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And remember, the Steelers have had trouble creating turnovers over the last couple years.
Yeah, we've already seen one dropped interception. Timmons leads the team with 3 interceptions after getting the pick 6.
Leading on 1st and 10, Harrison comes up the middle and brings down the Browns rookie quarterback at about the 13. Loss of 8 on the play.
All right, Harrison comes right up the middle. Remember, when you want to get pressure on young quarterbacks, why not come right up the gut, right into the face of Brandon Weeden? It's going to be a long day if they can't protect the rookie quarterback. And remember, Dick LeBeau's defense is really all about confusing your protection schemes up front on the offensive line. He goes to beat the offensive line more than dismantling the thoughts of the quarterback.
On 2nd down and 18, here comes Richardson. And there's another hit, this time by Timmons. Co-leading tackler on this #1 defense. It's a gain of a yard in the play. Now on the defensive line, Ziggy Hood was injured last week, limited in practice this week. He'll start today. Cameron Hayward came in and did a real good job filling in for him. We may see more of him this afternoon. Linebacker James Harrison coming off perhaps his best game since coming back from his injury early in the season. Had a sack moments ago, and he has a sack last week against Baltimore. In the secondary, the improving Keenan Lewis has really played well the last month. The secondary quarterback is Clark. Will Allen replaces the injured Troy Polamalu. It's 3rd and 16. They need the 30. Good time. Incomplete. With the coverage by Lewis on the rookie Josh Gordon, the Browns have got a punt. 3 and out on their 2nd possession today.
This ball's going to be thrown behind the intended receiver. The ball's got to be thrown leading Gordon over the middle. Watch is going to be thrown behind him because pressure was in the face of Brandon Weeden. And watch as Gordon breaks over the middle against Lewis. See the ball thrown behind him right there, Kevin? Didn't have a chance of coming down with it because pressure in the face of the quarterback.
Emmanuel Sanders is deep back for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get this punt from Reggie Hodges. Caught 41-yard line, so good beginning field position. A 45-yarder launched by Hodges. When we come back, a bit of Steeler history as the oldest starter in their 80-year history. Batch will be under center to begin things. Festive Tower City here in downtown Cleveland. Browns punting on their 2nd possession. 3-place punt. Richard Mendenhall on 1st and 10. Was tripped up on the play a bit by Frosty Rucker, and it's a gain of 2. And the quarterback is soon to be 38-year-old Charlie Batch, making his 8th start in his 10th season with the Steelers. His 4th start in the past 3 years. Roethlisberger missing another game. Leftwich was injured last week.
You know, Charlie Batch said he's excited about starting in today's game. He said, you never know how many more of these you're going to get. He knows he is behind a franchise quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. He's got to go about this game really just not turning it over and allow the defense in the running game to work in his favor.
Mendenhall on 2nd down and 8. Back last week for the first time. Was there a fumble on the play? The Browns say they've got it. Could be the game's 2nd turnover. You see the scrum. Cleveland has got the ball and a fumble by Richard Mendenhall.
And Kevin, this is the one thing the Pittsburgh Steelers cannot do here in Cleveland today, and that's turn the football over and put Weeden on a short field. And that is exactly what Richard Mendenhall does. He's won a committee of 4 running backs, as you see coming downhill right here. He's going to bounce it to Quill Jackson, 52. He's in there raking, and there you see the ball coming out. Taba Rubin, number 71, appeared to be the first guy raking and ripping at Mendenhall, and I think he's the one who caused the fumble.
Usama Young is the one to vacuum it in. And just a bit of housekeeping. We didn't get to the full lineups, but Legursky is starting today at the left guard. Willie Colon, and his knee began to swell about an hour and a half ago. It was a late change, and we'll fill you in the next time the Steelers have the ball. Now, there is always a review on a turnover or a score. We have a turnover, obviously, right now, and that would even the turnovers at 1 apiece. And let's see what's going to happen here if they take a further look at it.
The previous play will be reviewed.
Yep.
Yeah, no reason for the coach to challenge it, right, Kevin?
Exactly.
It's going to be challenged or
as we saw on Thanksgiving.
automatically.
You're exactly right. I think they've all learned their lesson now. We take a timeout.
Welcome back to Cleveland, where Rashard Mendenhall was ruled a fumble in the field of play. Watch 71, Otabo Rubin comes over and rakes the ball right there. Now we're going to see knee down just shortly before the knee goes down. Okay, the knee is down now, but also you can see the ball's out.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble, recovered by Cleveland. First down.
What do you think?
So it holds up. I don't think they had clear visual evidence to overturn the call on the field. I thought Rubin was raking away. The ball appeared to have come out, I think, just before the knee hit the ground.
Cleveland has it first down and 10. They've got a nice beginning field position here at the 44 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Richardson, the #1 rookie pick out of Alabama, brought down on the play by Clark. It's a gain of 6 to the 38.
Pittsburgh comes to Cleveland with the league's #1 ranked defense. They can shut you down from running it, and then if you want to throw it, they have not done this often, getting interception. That's the pick 6, but pressure on the quarterback as well, and then their 4th-ranked run defense against the rookie Trent Richardson. They are armed and ready by their defensive coordinator, Dick LeBeau, one of the toughest in the league.
On second down and 4, the twirling Richardson takes it down to the 32, picks up 7, picks up a first down. Timmons jumping on his back. Browns will move the chains.
Kevin, this Steeler defense, they come ranked in the top 5 in just about every statistical category except the takeaways. And already here in the first quarter, they've been already to get 1 turnover and take it to the house in terms of points. Dick LeBeau understands how to break down your protection schemes, how to beat your offensive line, and from there, your skilled players are really going to struggle.
Ontario Hardesty is in the backfield, first down and 10. Change the pace back. Good block by Drucker. There was a good block by Craig Little. And the run takes him down to the 18. It's a 13-yard pickup. And that is another first down with Clark right there making the stop in the secondary.
How about Hardesty going off the left side? John Greco, Joe Thomas, Alex Mack at the center position. Gets to the second level. Ryan Clark's been busy in this game today, having to tackle both of these running backs. That's what they want to do. If you get these runners, Martario Hardesty as well as Trent Richardson, to the second level of the defense, that's playing in the Cleveland Browns' favor.
First down and 10. Hardesty. Brought down that time by Cameron Hayward. We just talked about the second-year player out of Ohio State, and it's a gain of 1 down to the 16. Get coverage of every game while on the go this holiday weekend with NFL Mobile. Watch every touchdown from Sunday afternoon games with NFL Red Zone for $5 a month. Call *NFL to download or go to NFL.com/mobile. It is second down and 9. We have a Timmons interception and a return of 53 yards for the touchdown. Browns have it now with a Mendenhall turnover near midfield. Richardson back in. Whedon, a little high that time for the angular Josh Gordon, who's #3 in the NFL in yards per reception.
I think where Whedon has to be particularly careful is throwing the ball over the middle of the field. And that's where, Dick LeBeau, he'll have his down linemen, they'll drop out into coverage. And those windows that appear to be are just a mirage. That's the way he goes about fooling the quarterback into making costly turnovers and interceptions. You're going to throw the ball against his defense. It's got to occur outside the numbers.
Five in the secondary now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 39. Whedon, he's got the reception. Cortez Allen makes the tackle on Mohamed Massaquoi. It is a gain of 6, down to the 11.
And this is where the throws are a little bit easier. I think the reads come quite naturally, throwing it outside the numbers away from the defense. I think it gives you a clearer window for the quarterback, a window that he can trust. Now, Dawson's been good at converting these field goal opportunities into points. They need to come away with points after the Mendenhall fumble.
You can see he's knocked through 25 consecutive going back to last year. 19 of 19 now. 29-yard field goal try. A win going from the far side to the near. 3 on the board for the Browns. cashing in on the Mendenhall fumble. A drive highlighted by a 13-yard run by Montario Hardesty. It's 7-3 Steelers. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was mild here earlier in the week and then got cold over the weekend. Just in time for us to arrive after a nice Thanksgiving with our families. We hope all of you have had a wonderful holiday week of Thanksgiving with a lot of football, food, and family. Here's the kickoff by Dawson after he just knocked through a 29-yard field goal. And Chris Rainey, the rookie, is brought down by Tank Carter on the special teams on a 19-yard return. Steelers have it for a second time. Well, thanks to you, our generous viewers, the American Red Cross has been helping thousands affected by Hurricane Sandy get back on their feet. On this Thanksgiving weekend, we want to thank all of you for making a real difference. Learn more at redcross.org. CBS cares. First and 10. Mendenhall just came back last week after missing a handful of games with an injury.
As head coach Mike Tomlin said, he is the most talented of their committee of running backs and deserved more carries. He fumbles on his first play of the game, and it's going to be hard-pressed to keep feeding him the football.
Here's big Jonathan Dwyer coming up. Mayava is the one to hit him first, and then he is brought down by Frosty Rucker. It's a gain of 4. He's up to the 25. Legursky, we mentioned this before, starting today. Cologne is out. He is suited. He is dressed. He could play, but Legursky will take the job there today. A swelling knee for Cologne is the reason why he will sit. Emmanuel Sanders replaces the injured Antonio Brown. David Gilreath will be the third receiver today, and there are a series of plays for the newly signed Plexico Burris. Second down and 6 for quarterback Charlie Batch out of Eastern Michigan. Buster Screen is an extra defensive back for the Browns. Dwyer looking for blocks. Pouncey gives one. Legursky tried to give one, and then T.J. Ward is there with the stop on a catch and run of about 7 yards on the play. DeQuell Jackson there as well. Strong Cleveland front seven on the defensive line. The return of Phil Taylor with a healthy Ataba Rubin strengthens the middle. 5 of the Browns' 7 sacks in Dallas last week came from the defensive line. Backed up by a linebacking core led by DeQuell Jackson, top tackler on the team. And in the secondary, Joe Hayden returns after missing last week with an oblique strain. First and 10. Dwyer again out of Georgia Tech. Brought down on the play by DeQuell Jackson. It is a gain of 3 and just nudging beyond the 35-yard line. As you take a look at Mike Tomlin and Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator, the new OC in Pittsburgh.
You know, you don't have to convince Todd Haley to run the football. It's something that Mike Tomlin, remember, this is a Steeler team that entered the 2012 season saying they wanted to improve their ability to run the football with Ben Roethlisberger out. Now with Byron Leftwich out, he said that Jonathan Dwyer is, of their committee of running backs, is the one with the hot hand. He should get plenty of carries and opportunities, particularly after the Mendenhall fumble.
On second down and 7, Dwyer hit by newly instated defensive lineman rookie John Hughes out of Cincinnati. Had a sack last week, comes up with a tackle there after a gain of 3. And they got Dwyer out to the 38-yard line.
Yeah, but they were able to create a manageable third down for Charlie Batch. And what did Tomlin say about Charlie Batch's nickname is Check Down Charlie? He doesn't look to stretch the field. That's something they felt they had with Byron Leftwich. But with Charlie Batch, the 15-year veteran, he'll make checks at the line of scrimmage. He wants to get the ball out quick against a defense that had 7 sacks last week in Dallas.
Redmond in the backfield, 3rd and 4. Isaac Redmond. There's a block by Foster. A tackle once again made by Hughes. It's a gain of 2, shy of the first by 2. He's out to the 41, and they got to punt the ball.
And this tells us something, Kevin. On 3rd and 4, they don't want to throw it. They're going to load up in the running game. And you can see they're submarining, getting underneath the right guard, Ramon Foster, who was pulling on the play. And they were able to get underneath, get penetration, and blow up the run play, forcing the Steelers to punt the football.
Drew Butler to punt. And deep back is Josh Cribbs. Nice little English there, 17-yard line, and a 41-yard punt. Well, Trent Richardson becomes the heart and soul of this offense. We'll see him again on the field for the Browns, who trail 7-3 here in the first in Cleveland. This Cleveland offensive line's done a pretty good job protecting Whedon, although he's been sacked once already by Harrison today.
Yeah, they have to do an even better job of dissecting this Dick LeBeau defense and making sure that they keep the quarterback clean.
With 2 tight ends, 1st and 10. And that's one of the tight ends right there, a guy who caught 2 touchdown passes last week in Dallas after an 11-yard gain. It's Benjamin Watson. He's up to the 29. And nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Break down all the NFL action on NFL Monday QB. It's tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. 2nd down. Make it first. First down to the 29. He gains 11 on that carry. Good block by Greco. Provides time on the pass outside Richardson. It's a catch and run to the 47. Run out of bounds by Clark. 18-yard pickup. First down for the Browns.
I love the way they lift the coverage and then watch Richardson sneak out of the backfield. This is what you got to do against this defense. We told you the easier throws for the quarterback come outside the numbers, where I think you can believe what you see if you're Brandon Wheaton. You start throwing over the middle of the field. That's when you're prone to more interceptions against this defense.
1st and 10. Richardson. Not a whole lot right there. Button heads with Hood, and on his back is Harrison. Gain of 3 out near midfield.
Kevin, the Cleveland Browns, 5 of their 8 losses have come by 7 points or less. I think one of the reasons, remember, they're the youngest team in the National Football League. You have a lot of rookies playing for Pat Shurmur's football team, and I think they've learned to be competitive in games. And I think the next level of development for this football team is learning how to close out games, particularly when they have a lead.
2nd down and 7. Tight end Godwin can't reel it in. Alex Smith, longtime veteran, incomplete.
You know, up against this aggressive defense, you only get one chance. Even Wheaton talked to us about that. And they try to sneak, look at the receiver over the middle of the field. That's covered. But when you go to check this down to Alex Smith, first time you got to catch it or this happens. If you continue to bobble this one, birds are in the way. You're forced to check this one down. Smith has to catch it on the first attempt. You don't get second, third chances against this defense.
It's hard enough with the players. You put birds in there now in the equation. It's really tough, isn't it?
That's why the Steelers' defense is so good. Even the elements are helping them out.
I know it. They've got new side here, and the birds are eating the seed. 3rd and 7. Into the nickel. Allen is the 5th defensive back for the Steelers over Massaqua's head. There's Cortez Allen right there on the coverage. 2nd year out of the Citadel. And the Browns have got to punt the ball.
Well, they're trying to get the ball to the outside on the perimeter like what we talked about. And I think Shurmur was happy with the decision made there by Brandon Wheaton. You got to go outside, and that's where your receivers have to win when they're matched up one-on-one against these Steelers cornerbacks.
Hodges will punt. Emmanuel Sanders, 3rd year out of SMU, is back. Grandson's tough to deal with. Again, he calls for a fair catch, and that's what he makes it about the 19-yard line and a 31-yard punt. Here comes Charlie Batch, the 3rd starting quarterback for the Steelers in as many weeks.
Here in Cleveland, the Steelers are starting their 3rd quarterback in 3 weeks because Ben Roethlisberger was knocked out against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then the very next week against Baltimore, Byron Leftwich, he finishes the game, but he's injured that shoulder, and so he's knocked out, and that gives us Charlie Batch here today. And I talked to Mike Tomlin, Kevin, and I said, hey, when you get down to that 3rd quarterback, it's not quite the same as having a Ben Roethlisberger, and he admitted that the cohesion between quarterbacks and wide receivers has been affected because the familiarity just isn't there once you get down to Charlie Batch.
After the punt by Cleveland, and Dwyer in the backfield, 1st and 10 for Batch. A little bit high and incomplete, looking for the very tall tight end, Heath Miller.
And there you see Batch overthrows the intended receiver. I thought Miller was there, and that's what Tomlin talked about. He said ball placement is critical once you get down to the 3rd quarterback because he doesn't get a lot of practice time with the number 1 guys. Remember, he's used to playing that 4th preseason game, playing with guys who really aren't going to make your football team. It takes some time for the cohesion to come together when you get down to the 3rd quarterback playing with your number 1 wide receivers and tight ends.
It's 2nd down and 10, batted down. Coming through and batting it down. I don't know, it was It was Usama Young who comes through, the former New Orleans Saint.
And take a look at it right here. They're going to come up and just getting right into the path and into the face of Charlie Batch, who wants to get the ball out quickly. What did he say his nickname was? Check down Charlie. He was trying to check it down to the back, coming out of the backfield. Now on 3rd and 10. And this is where Charlie Batch has to get rid of the ball quickly. This is an active defense set. Kevin, 7 sacks 1 week ago against a mobile Tony Romo.
Into 6 defensive backs, 3rd and 10 for Batch. Go that dead as Jaquay Parker coming off the edge. That's going to be on Pittsburgh. And again, updating Legursky starting at the left guard for the injured Cologne, who's suited up and on the sideline for Pittsburgh.
False start. Offense number 88. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Here comes Plexico Burris. This will be his 2nd play. This is the first penalty of the game, by the way, and it's called on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but now you're facing 3rd and 15. I think more than anything, Pittsburgh, what they can't do, start turning the ball over. We talked about them playing small ball. I think you're going to get a conservative play here from Todd Haley and not risking to turn it over and punt and turn it over to your defense.
Into the dime, 3rd and 15. That is brought in. The catch is made. DeQuell Jackson makes the stop on the receiver, Emmanuel Sanders. It's a gain of 11, but not close to a first down. Still 4 yards shy, 3 and out. Pittsburgh's got a punt.
By conservative, I meant they'd throw it short, just short of the chains of the first down marker and look to maybe get a catch and run. But that was more aggressive than I thought, going over the middle of the football field.
The rookie out of Georgia, Drew Butler, to punt. Deep back is Krebs, the 5th-ranked punt returner in the NFL. Monday, along with a nice tackle made by Worlds, brings him down. 13-yard return. Let's take you to New York and James Brown.
Shannon, Cincy in the hunt.
Yes, JB, and I'm better than you with one hand but tied behind my back. Mohamed Sanu, and he actually has 2-yard touchdown catch. 14-0 Bengals all over the Raiders.
Kevin, I would imagine Solomon wouldn't like the receiver catching one-handed on him. Back to Kevin and Solly.
I've seen Shannon do it, so I don't know that we can question his abilities in that area, JB.
That's a look at the AFC North. Baltimore beaten Pittsburgh last week. It's a 2-game lead for the Ravens. They meet again next week in Baltimore. From the 40-yard line, 1st and 10. Trent Richardson with pulling lineman. Greco along with Thomas, and a gain of 4. Looked like Kiesel was there and Keenan Lewis was there. It's a gain to about the 43-yard line. Tomorrow, when 2 broke girls get a business opportunity, they'll do anything to make it happen. Catch a new episode tomorrow, only on CBS. 2nd down and 6.
Oh, I'm impressed so far in this game with Ryan Clark, his ability to come up and make sure tackles on Trent Richardson. That's what's going to be needed today. And right now, I think Ryan Clark's one of the more underrated players on defense in the National Football League.
On 2nd down and 6, Benjamin, the rookie out of Miami. And there's Keenan Lewis, who has had a very good month of football, especially stopping the run. Limits that end around to a gain of 1 yard. He's up to the 46. Lewis is a rising player.
And take a look at it here. Here's Benjamin coming around here, but see Lewis, they all stay home on the backside of this play. And I think the tackling in the secondary for the Pittsburgh Steelers is as good as any secondary in the NFL, up there with the Chicago Bears, who do a wonderful job of tackling and ripping the ball. But this group, they're good tacklers on the back end.
That's a good point. 3rd down and 5. Whedon, Watson, and shy of the first down. Pickup of 2. Coverage on the play by Clark. There he is again. He's had a couple concussions this year. He's got an oversized helmet. And he says it's a little awkward, but boy, it sure feels good. And they're going to now watch Cleveland punt the ball.
He's heard a lot of references of Mr. Kazoo. with that big helmet. He said it takes some getting used to. Said he spent all week in the weight room doing neck exercises just to hold that helmet up.
He's a funny guy. We had a good time with him visiting last night. Sanders, fair catches again after the punt. coming in by Hodges. 40-yard punt. Spot the ball at the 14-yard line. And it's Pittsburgh's ball. Well, Saturday, a BCS title shot could be in play when A.J. McCarron and number 2 ranked Alabama roll against Aaron Murray and 3rd ranked Georgia in the SEC championship. Some people think this is the national championship game, these two great teams. The Hoople begins with CBS College Football Championship Saturday and College Football Today.
Now, what we know for a fact is the winner of that game will play Notre Dame in the championship game, and that's what's on the line for Alabama and Georgia. Doesn't get any bigger than that.
Green and Gibson are extra defensive backs for the Browns. So they go with 5. Here's a 1st and 10 for Batch. Here comes Dwyer again. He gets a gain of 2. Screen was there. Sheard was there. They love Jabal Sheard, as that will conclude the first quarter. A Lawrence Timmons interception on a deflected ball. Returned 53 yards for a touchdown. 7-3 Steelers. We go to the second. We're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. You start the second quarter with the Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-4. They had won 4 consecutive games until their loss last week to Baltimore. That's their play selection right there. And it's 2nd down and 8 for Batch to begin the second for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dwyer will be in the backfield. He's had a couple nice games. Last week he had 55 yards against Baltimore. Against the Bengals, you'll recall, he had 122. 2nd and 8. Takes it right here. Gets by Hughes and is banged by Ward and picks up 3 and works his way to the 19 with a flag thrown on the play.
Holding. Offense number 73. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat 2nd down.
That's your 5-time Pro Bowler. Or rather, I'm sorry, that is player Ramon Foster right there. 4th year out of Tennessee.
And he's got his hands full, Kevin, working against Ataba Ruman as well as Phil Taylor. And here he is right there. Take a look at him. Okay, there you see him right there. He's working. See, there's the hold right there. Working against John Hughes, 3rd-round pick out of Cincinnati.
What is it? Defensive back, 2nd down and 16. Dwyer again. Back behind the line, and that time a nice tackle by Sheldon Brown. It's a loss of 4, back to the 4.
Well, when teams struggle to run the football, we often talk about the offensive line. Well, wide receivers have to block. If you want to run it outside, you can't allow the cornerback, Sheldon Brown, do an excellent job of getting in the backfield. Look, Dwyer looked like he was looking for a place to get on the ground. And you got to attack defensive backs. He's the much bigger guy. When you see a corner shooting up, use your 230-pound frame if you're Jonathan Dwyer to try to break that tackle from Sheldon Brown.
Redmond in the backfield, 3rd and 19. They need the 24. Ataba Ruman plugs up the gap, and then the avalanche of players. 85, the Browns think there's been a fumble, and they've recovered as they unravel, and the Browns have got the ball at roughly the 10-yard line. Another turnover by Pittsburgh.
The recipe for an upset. We always talk about it, Kevin. Turnovers are the great equalizer. If you are the Pittsburgh Steelers and you've won 16 of your last 17 games against the Cleveland Browns, you want to end your 4-game win streak as you see Buster Skrine coming away with a ball. 4 consecutive wins for Pittsburgh over the Cleveland Browns. This is Isaac Redmond hitting the hole here. Let's take a look at it and see if the ball comes out. It's a scrum. Ball's out at the bottom of that pile. Look, everyone is raking at it. That ball comes out before he hits the ground.
Jaquay Parker got a hand on the ball, and so here now, 1st and goal for the Cleveland Browns. On a second turnover by the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have fumbled twice and punted twice.
Yes, they're going to take a look at it. I think that's what you have to do to get it right. But it has been confirmed that it is a fumble. The 2nd turnover by this Pittsburgh Steeler offense. 2 of their 4 running backs have put it on the ground and turned it over to the Browns.
With 3 tight ends, 1st and goal for Brandon Weeden. Richardson. Hit by Hood, grabbed by Timmons. Gain of 3, down to the 7.
Remember, the Browns have already turned it over in the first quarter. It was a pick 6, interception, Whedon to Timmons, returned for a touchdown. Now I think if you're the Cleveland Browns, you got to be smart. You have points on the board. This is in Phil Dawson's range, obviously. He's made 20 consecutive field goals. Pat Shurmur wants to come away with a touchdown. Secure the football while trying to get it into the end zone, but don't give it back over to Pittsburgh.
Second goal from the 7. George tried to block. Worlds may have gotten a hand on him. It's a gain of 2. He's down to the 5. Richardson.
Well, these linebackers, watch Larry Foote, number 50, watching jam the guard here. See him get penetration, and then there's Worlds, number 93, getting to the feet of Trent Richardson before he can turn the corner. 0 touchdowns allowed in the last 28 possessions by their opponent. Last time they gave up a touchdown was in the first half against the Kansas City Chiefs.
3rd and goal from the 5. Good block by Schwartz, and that is a touchdown. It is grabbed by the tight end, Jordan Cameron. 5-yard strike, and Cleveland cashes in on the Pittsburgh fumble.
I think they've figured it out, Kevin. If you want to throw the ball against this defense, what did I say? Throw it outside the numbers on the perimeter against this defense. And you're going to see Jordan working against the linebacker outside against Larry Foote. And I think these are clear throws. Look, out here, that's where the space is. You're not going to be fooled by what you see right there. Excellent catch by the tight end.
Go back to last year, the Browns offense did not score a touchdown in their 2 games against the Steelers. They've got one now being looked at upstairs, as all scoring plays are. 5-yard touchdown pass. 2 turnovers by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got a 29-yard field goal the first time. On the second fumble, they get a 5-yard touchdown pass. Dawson trying to tack on one more, which makes it 10-7 Browns. Whedon throws a touchdown pass, number 12 of the year. Finding his second-year tight end Cameron. A 5-yarder and a 3-point Browns lead. The former minor league baseball pitcher on the left, Whedon, throwing to the former Division I college basketball player on the right. Whedon to Jordan Cameron. And a 3-point lead in 2 Pittsburgh turnovers converted into 10 points for the Browns. The ensuing kickoff by Dawson. Rainey will take it out for Pittsburgh. The gap and finally brought down by rookie Trevin Wade. 30-yard return. And a flag has been thrown with the return out to the 24-yard line of the Steelers. Ron Winter has been throwing the ball around a little bit, or rather the flag around a little bit this afternoon.
During the return, holding, 55 return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Stevenson, Sylvester.
Well, let's take a look at the touchdown again, because Cameron's going to be double covered right here. Take a look at this between Will Allen and number 50, Larry Foote. But they lose outside leverage on the play. See, he beats Allen to the outside. Now he's outside of Foote. That creates a clear throwing lane. If you're Dick LeBeau, I'm sure you're coaching them up. Guys, they threw it right into the teeth of the defense. Double coverage on the tight end. We should have had it intercepted or broken up the pass. Should have been much better defended on the double coverage play.
Will Johnson, bottom of your screen, H-back, fullback, 1st and 10 for Batch. Ed Dwyer in the backfield. He gets the call right here with the beat on him. Mayava brought down by Joe Hayden. And the catch and run up to the 11, a pickup of 2 on the play. And coming up on the Verizon halftime report, James Brown, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for the latest NFL scores, highlights, and news. All coming up on the Verizon halftime report from our CBS studios in New York.
Kevin, I got to tell you right now, look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2 turnovers on offense. They've punted twice. Only 1 first down right now by this Charlie Batch-led offense, and they've had 3 penalties. The running backs have to fuel this offense and help Charlie Batch put points on the board.
2nd down and 8, Dwyer. He said last night he's got the hot hand, but runs up the middle. Not a whole bunch there. Carves out a yard. Well, Jackson among the many. They make the stop at the 12-yard line.
Now here's what I'm seeing so far. Rashard Mendenhall, one opportunity to carry the ball. He's fumbled it. So now you go away from here. You give it to Isaac Redmond. He's normally your third down short yardage back, catching it out of the backfield. He's put the ball on the ground. And Jonathan Dwyer, who Coach Tomlin said has the hot hand, he has not run with the authority that we're accustomed to seeing him run with. Someone has to awaken amongst this committee of running backs and start to provide some plays as we take a look at Plaxico Burress on the field now.
Third down and 8. And he's got Sanders, who's brought down by Sheldon Brown, slicing his way for a first down to the 21, pickup of 9. The Steelers move the chains.
And Charlie Batch, he talks about getting the ball out quick. You see him ripping through his progression, dumping it off to Sanders underneath. Sanders has to make more plays with Antonio Brown out. I thought Antonio Brown was their best complete wide receiver. He's good at creating yards after the catch. He can get deep. And Batch even said he's capable of beating the double team. And so with Brown out, Sanders in, he's got to be able to make plays.
Clock at 0. First and 10. Tackle made by James Michael Johnson on Dwyer with a pickup of 2 to the 24.
One thing about Jonathan Dwyer, we told you 5'11", 230 pounds. I don't know that he's nifty enough, Kevin, to make the unblocked defender miss. What I'm seeing him is running into the mush of Lyman, and then he's stonewalled and stopped there. When is he going to use his fancy footwork to maybe bounce it outside, to get to the edge, get to the perimeter, be able to create yards beyond the line of scrimmage? We're going to see if he can do that, or if you're going to rotate Mendenhall back into the ball game.
Second down and 8. Over Miller's head. Coverage by Hayden. Incomplete pass.
Bad throw from Charlie Batch, and he knows it. He's even saying, my bad. You've got to hit Heath Miller. He's one of the talented tight ends in this league. He will make that open defender miss. Look, ball sails way high over the head of Heath Miller. So you can see Charlie Batch, who hasn't started a game in quite some time, coming out a little bit rusty here today, Kevin.
Taking the plays of Roethlisberger. And his backup, Leftwich. Third down and 8. 6 in the Cleveland secondary. Steelers need the 32. He's looking for Wallace. He got caught up with Buster Screen. It's an incomplete pass. They got to punt again.
Give credit to Buster Screen, staying on top of the speedy Mike Wallace. And that's why, of course, Wallace broke that route off. Charlie Batch was expecting him to continue down the field and try to catch the ball over the top. The miscommunication between quarterback and wide receiver is something that Tomlin talked about when you get down to your third string quarterback.
Cribbs and Benjamin back for the Butler punt. And Benjamin back at the 26. Martez Allen had a shot at him, and finally he was knocked out of bounds by the long snapper, Greg Warren. 16-yard return, 49-yard punt. And here comes Whedon with the lead and a timeout. Ben Roethlisberger again sitting. The sling is off this week. He and his wife Ashley welcomed a 7-pound baby boy into the world on Wednesday evening, a 7-pounder for number 7.
Yeah, he's making some progress. He took the sling off, as you said, and took it off on Wednesday, and now he's moving that arm without any pain. They expect him to maybe come back next week against Baltimore.
They go to Gordon on 1st and 10. Keenan Lewis will meet him at the 46. A pickup of 12 yards on first down and into Pittsburgh territory.
How about Whedon starting to settle in now against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense? They're allowing him to throw the ball. Remember, outside the numbers is where they feel like they can make some money. I believe it's the safer throws. Isolation, Gordon against Lewis. I think that's where you want to attack this defense. On the outside, one-on-one, where those linebackers can close the windows and risk throwing interceptions.
Good time on 1st and 10 for Whedon. Moves up niftily, needs the 36 and slides to about the 41. In the trail of dust, 4-yard pickup.
Whedon starting to make better decisions now in the second quarter. He almost threw a pick early in the first quarter. That one should have been intercepted. Then he did throw a pick after the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and Lawrence Timmons ran it back for a touchdown, but then he did throw it over to Jordan Cameron for his first touchdown pass of the game. Threw 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys last week. We thought he played better here on the road. So far in the second quarter, he's looked a lot better.
Second down and 6. Gordon. He slowed down in an initial hit, and then you see the avalanche of Pittsburgh defenders right there. 6-yard pickup, close to a first down. He's inside the 36-yard line. That's a rookie who was taken in a supplemental pick out of Baylor, Josh Gordon.
Let's see what Dick LeBeau can come up with now to sort of take away Pat Shurmur's offense from throwing the ball outside the numbers. All the throws are going outside now, Kevin. I think rightfully so, because it's easier reads for a rookie quarterback against Dick LeBeau's complex zone blitz defense, and then you don't risk the ball getting tipped at the line of scrimmage by guys like Brett Keeson.
The tight ends, 1st and 10. Richardson is down to the 30-yard line with a tackle made by Ike Taylor along with Allen. Gain of 5 on the play. Put him at the 30-yard line. Y'all got a sports fan on your gift list? Avoid the crowds with CBSSports.com shop. Save big on all officially licensed clearance gear with an additional 20% off now at shop.cbssports.com. Second down, 5. Richardson grabbed on the play, torn down by Steve McClendon. He shot right through. Loss of 3, back to the 33.
And that was just the 13th play for the Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh Steeler territory. They've got to be able to turn these possessions into points if you are the Cleveland Browns. We talked about their inability to finish off ball games against veteran football teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think when you get this kind of field position, you have to turn it into points. Right now, if you're Cleveland, you've got to take advantage of these opportunities.
World's out there as a linebacker. Charles Allen has become an extra defensive back, 3rd and 8. With a couple of tight ends, Reed looking for him at the catch made by Watson. Defended by the linebacker Timmons. 13-yard, beautiful catch. And a 20-yard line position, 1st and 10 Cleveland.
You can see Whedon is very comfortable throwing the ball outside the numbers. What a grab, as you mentioned, Kevin, by Ben Watson. He's come alive here as of late, working against Lawrence Timmons. And look at him extend himself to go out and haul that one in. And I think the coverages against this Pittsburgh Steelers, they're just a little bit easier to read for the rookie quarterback when you're going outside.
Richardson on 1st and 10. And there's Foote along with Hayward making the stop. Gain of 2. Wheaton hit his last 5 consecutive passes out of the 18-yard line of the Steelers.
And I think right now down inside the red zone, that's where we expect to see Plexico Burress when Pittsburgh has the ball. But right now, Whedon, if you get inside the red zone, I think you've got to be cognizant that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have some double coverages on the outside. We told you they attempted to double cover the tight end Cameron on his touchdown reception. Now you got to expect that to occur again.
And watch for 82 Watson. 3 of the 4 red zone touchdown passes coming into today have gone to number 82. Second down and 8. Richardson catches Allen from behind, bringing him down. Minimal gain, if anything. In fact, we'll say about a yard gain to the 17.
Well, I think if your Pittsburgh starts with stopping Trent Richardson, but right now Cleveland has a good balance between the run and the pass. That's why they're able to move the ball against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Nice balance, you're right. 3rd and 8, 5 in the secondary, and that's what Wheaton is taking a look right now from the Steelers 17. Got a good block. Timmons is chasing Wheaton. Bringing down about the 13-yard line. Flag is down, shy of a first down after the gain of 4 by about 3.
Holding. Offense number 55. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
That's the first penalty on the Cleveland Browns after getting a bunch called on them last week.
Going up against the center, Alex Mack, number 55 right there. Look, he tries to get, there it is right there. I don't know. I'm not so sure if that was An egregious offense of the holding rules.
Well, they're going to decline it, and back out onto the field goes Phil Dawson, the 37-year-old Texas Longhorn. He'll try a field goal of 32 yards. He's belted one through from 29. We'll keep repeating these wonderful numbers. This season, he is 20 of 20 on field goals. He's knocked through 26 consecutive going back to last year. And this is a 32-yarder. Breeze is negligible inside the stadium. The snap pulled down, and he sneaks it in. Another 3. They got a pass to Gordon for 12, a pass to Watson for 13, then Old Reliable from 32 yards away. Dawson has kicked 2 field goals. Cleveland has scored 13 unanswered points. Wheaton has had a 5-yard touchdown pass. Pittsburgh's turned it over a couple times. And so here we go with the kickoff by Dawson. And a 13-7 Cleveland Browns lead late in the first half with the rookie Rainey watching it bounce well shy. Shoots it up at the 11-yard line. Dances his way, and then Ted Carter brings him down near the 26 on a 15-yard return. Rugged start for Charlie Batch, 4 of 8 so far. Charlie Batch turns 38 December 5th. Not a lot of teams in the NFL on their 3rd quarterback of the season.
Yeah, scraping the bottom of the barrel, but with a 15-year veteran, you expect better offensive production than what the Steelers have shown us so far.
2 of the running backs have fumbled today. Redmond has fumbled. Mendenhall has fumbled. Dwyer now getting the bulk of the carries. 1st and 10. Good block by Wallace. And Dwyer fumbles the ball. Oh, my goodness. What a day. DeQuell Jackson vacuums it in. 34-yard line. Browns take over again. 3 fumbles by the Pittsburgh Steelers, all by different running backs.
3 running backs have touched the ball for the Steelers. As you mentioned, all 3 have fumbled. They don't have anyone they can trust with the football. Look at the hit right here. Over there by T.J. Ward. Ball on the ground. Cleveland Browns recovered. Look at T.J. Ward. Puts a hat on the ball, knocks it away from Jonathan Dwyer, recovered by DeQuell Jackson. This Cleveland Brown defense is playing lights out. And right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are struggling to hold on to the football. Every single runner who has carried it for the Steelers has fumbled today.
All turnovers too have been in Pittsburgh territory. 1st and 10. A fake to Richardson. A good block, but now they come streaming through, and the guy with the sack is Jason Worilds, his 4th of the season. The 2nd sack by the linebacking core of the Steelers today. They push him back to the 41.
Well, we talk about situational football. If you're Wheaton, you can't take a sack here. Get rid of the football. Don't allow them to knock you out of field goal range, because the defense has already set you up to get more points on the board. We talk about them being a young football team in Cleveland trying to finish off games. Got to make sure you come away with points on this possession for Pat Sherman.
5 in the secondary, 2nd and 17. Richardson held up and taken down. No gain. There's Clark once again with the stop, and at the 41-yard line is where he goes down. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, JB and Company with all the latest NFL scores, news, and highlights. All coming up. Halftime report, the Verizon halftime report right here on CBS. What makes this even more interesting is the Steeler offense has not run a play in Browns territory today. Their deepest penetration, their own 46.
Running back coach Kirby Wilson saying, guys, listen, the only way we lose this ball game is if we hand it over to the Cleveland Browns, and that's exactly what his group is doing so far.
3rd and 17, they need the 24. Wheaton almost picked off on the dive by Ike Taylor, which will take us to the 2-minute warning. And a surprise in Ohio, 13-7 the Browns. Well, Mike Tomlin got his linebacker, Jason Worilds, with the sack on Wheaton, which effectively knocks the Cleveland Browns out of field goal range.
Yeah, that's why Wheaton had to get rid of the ball there, have to understand the situation, but good play by the Pittsburgh Steelers to come away with the sack.
Sanders deep back on the punt by Hodgins. Another fair catch, this time at the 16-yard line, 25-yarder. Well, tomorrow on CBS, is she a psychoanalyst or just a plain psycho? Catch an electrifying new Hawaii 5-0 tomorrow only on CBS. Boy, how many times have I heard that? All right, let's see now the timeout story. 3 for the Steelers. The ineffective Batch from the 16, 1st and 10. He was telling us last night back in 1989, going way back then, this weekend back in 89, his high school team won the 4A state championship in the state of Pennsylvania.
Some time ago, but take a look, Kevin. Chris Rainey now is in the backfield at the running back position, the 4th runner to play now for the Steelers after the previous 3 has fumbled and put the ball on the ground.
Mendenhall, Redmond, Dwyer all fumbling. The rookie Rainey. A block by Miller, a block by Wallace, and a tackle made right there by DeQuell Jackson, who's all over the field. It is a gain of 6 by Rainey. He's up to the 22.
Let you know how much Mike Tomlin's offense has struggled right now. The longest play from scrimmage, only 11 yards, and that was a completion from Batch over to Emmanuel Sanders. This offense has struggled mightily, not just throwing it, but trying to run it as well.
Second down and 4. Take by Rainey, and that is caught. Emmanuel Sanders right over Sheldon Brown. The stop made by Ward. Place him at the 49. A 27-yard throw by Batch.
Yeah, and watch the adjustment by Emmanuel Sanders. I thought this ball was going to be underthrown, but look, he stops, comes back to it, and you can see Sheldon Brown thought he had himself an interception right there. Look, goes at the highest point, but it's right off his fingertips, and Sanders still makes the catch after adjusting. I thought the ball was underthrown, thought it might be intercepted by Brown, but Sanders still able to come away with a completion.
Sanders against the Ravens last week had the 3 longest catches for the Steelers. 3 catches for 82 yards. And Solomon, let's backpedal here just a step and take a look at what's happened here in the first half in Cleveland.
Pittsburgh Steelers said they wanted to come out and play a little small ball with their 3rd-string quarterback, Charlie Batch. He's the check down guy, can change plays at the line of scrimmage. The one thing the Steelers could not afford to do was turn the ball over, and the Cleveland Browns have been able to force 3 fumbles, and they've been able to turn that into points.
6 in the secondary, 1st and 10 for Batch. Outside he goes. Rainey with the beat on him is Hayden, and he had it knocked away, and out of bounds it goes. The gain to the 46. He picks up 4. They're going to run out of running backs here in a second. For guys not holding on to the ball.
They cannot hold on to the football. We talked about 3 fumbles so far in this game, and Rashard Mendenhall is the guy they wanted to fuel the offense. He's put the ball on the ground, and then Redmond was fumbled, the 2nd one of the game, and then Jonathan Dwyer, he put the ball on the ground. Now the 4th running back, Chris Rainey, in the game, he gets stripped of the ball, but the ball goes out of bounds. It's no turnover, but if you're Todd Haley right now, you're shaking in your boots. 3 fumbles by 3 different players, all running backs.
Browns now have 5 in the secondary. Will Johnson at the side of Batch. 2nd down and 6. First play in Cleveland territory for Pittsburgh, and here is a flag. Batch is saying maybe that play clock didn't completely rewind or reset. And that's the discussion on the field.
Want to get a little bit more time on the clock.
One thing about Batch, boy, he is a student of the game, an attention-to-detail guy who has served as a wonderful mentor to young quarterbacks that have come through this organization.
15 years in the league, you've
Please
seen a lot.
reset the game clock to 1:03.
Yep, 1:03.
The clock will start on the ready for play.
Remember, Batch is on the executive committee for the NFL Players Association. He's one of the custodians of our league as one of the players. And a lot of the guys in the locker room really have a great deal of respect for Charlie Batch.
Wallace still has not caught anything. 2nd down and 6. Batch, Sanders. Robertson couldn't bring him down. Then from behind, Billy Wynn, the rookie out of Boise State, chasing him off the defensive line down to the 38. Picks up 10.
Oh, how about Emmanuel Sanders? He's come ready to play. Someone has to make a play for Charlie Batch. One of these wide receivers, someone in the backfield, and boy, we just saw one there by Emmanuel Sanders.
1st and 10. And short, this time going for Gilreath. Young player out of the University of Wisconsin. 2nd down and 10. Sanders on this drive. A pass completion of 27 from Batch. He just caught one for 10 moments ago. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Right now what Mike Tomlin wants on this final possession before the half, just something to gain some kind of chemistry, some kind of continuity for his offense. Something they can feel good about going in at halftime.
In the secondary, 2nd down and 10. Starts the block at the left tackle. Here's Heath Miller. Makes the grab. Robertson then grabs him down to the 27. A pickup of 11 for Miller, and that is his first catch today.
Well, that's why you love Heath Miller. And if I'm Charlie Batch, I'm trying to get the ball to him more. He moves the chains with a great physicality that only a Pittsburgh Steelers fan would love.
After Pittsburgh burned their second time out, they've got a 1st and 10 at the 26 of the Browns. Took over at their 16. Good block by Johnson in the middle. Incomplete. Looking for Plexico Burress, who is slanting inside.
Well, they said that Plexico Burress was one of the guys they had on the short list. He had to come ready to play. This is a good throw from Batch. Watch it hit. Look at that. Burress right in the hands. Yeah, he had to extend for it, but you've got to be able to make that catch. That hit both hands, and even Burress knows he should have made that completion.
Sheldon Brown on the coverage. Playing in his 171st consecutive game. A look at Burress. 2nd and 10. Tight and wide and uncatchable. We're going to Wallace at about the 10-yard line and across the way with the coverage. Joe Hayden was their lockdown corner.
Hayden's doing a really good job of staying on top of Wallace in this game. Remember, they said they would play Burress in certain situations. We said that it would be down inside the red zone. We're seeing it on this possession right now. And I think if you're Burress going at 6'5", you got to be able to win. This is why they brought him in. Mike Tomlin said he's familiar. He's known Burress for quite a long time, being from the Virginia area. They're counting on him to be able to make plays when he's matched up one-on-one.
3rd down and 10. Going deep and looking for Burress, who runs into Sheldon Brown. That's a penalty on Brown in the secondary for the Browns.
Oh, he was matched up one-on-one against Sheldon Brown. This is the look they wanted to see to give Burress an opportunity to come down with the ball.
Pass interference. Defense number 24. Because the foul occurred in the end zone, the ball is placed at the 1-yard line. 1st down.
You know, Brown's an 11-year veteran, 2 veteran receivers and corners. But look, Brown gets in trouble because he doesn't look back for the ball. See, he's not playing the ball. Clearly the receiver, and then when he does look back, he stumbles right into Plexico Burress. That is pass interference all the way.
There's 7 seconds to play in the first half. The offset eye, Rainey is back there. Couple tight ends. 1st and goal. Rainey hit and driven outside. There he goes. He did not hit the ground, and he goes on the outside for a 1-yard touchdown run. What an alert play by the rookie, Chris Rainey.
Well, it's one of those situations. He goes 5'9", 180 pounds. You'd rather use one of your bigger backs to pound it up the middle. But watch the balance of Rainey. They don't secure the tackle. And now once he bounces outside, his speed is way too much. This is a track guy from Florida who can play some football as well. And watch the balance there. And they don't wrap him up. There are several defenders have a chance to get him on the ground. But once he breaks it outside, the speed is too much. Rainey runs it in for a touchdown. Can you believe the Steelers could go in at halftime with the lead after 3 turnovers in the first half?
Amazing. They've turned the ball over, and Cleveland has gotten great beginning field position. And a timeout taken by the Browns. Probably Pat Shurmur wanting further
Cleveland.
view of this play upstairs. Now, he couldn't challenge anyway because it's a scoring play, and they're all automatically looked at. And we are under 2 minutes, too, so you can't challenge in that respect either.
But he was saying that, okay, you should have taken a look at it, but what is it about that play that you would want to take a look at?
Because he did not hit the ground.
He did not hit the ground. The knee didn't hit the ground, but I'm sure there's something that he wants to talk to the officials about.
Let's see the forward progress, though, and see if that comes into play on this review.
Well, forward progress begins once you're wrapped up. He's never wrapped up, Kevin. See, they don't have him wrapped up.
Nope.
You have to allow that play to continue, I think, if you're the official. Now, I don't blame Pat Shurmur for wanting to take a look at it, but you cannot review forward progress.
So here's the extra point. There was no whistle either, so that even plays into the equation. Rainey who is a 5th-round pick out of Florida with his 2nd rushing touchdown this season. Squeeze him with the extra point. And Pittsburgh leads by 1. Well, an important game for Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers, who had their 4-game winning streak halted last week by Baltimore, which leads them by 2 games in the AFC North, and a rematch next week in Baltimore.
And that's going to be a biggie. And remember, this is a Steeler team that has to keep winning because they're only 1 game ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals right now leading 21-zip over Carson Palmer, their former quarterback, in the Oakland Raiders. Mike Tomlin was engaging last night, to say the least. We enjoyed our conversation with him. It's amazing how in Pittsburgh they don't reload. They just hand off the baton. So it went from Noel to Cowher to this guy, and he's been terrific now in his 6th season with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But he's cutting the same mold as those other guys, of Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher, a guy who I played for in Pittsburgh and loved playing for him. Remember, all of these guys have cut their teeth on the defensive side of the ball, and there's no better organization to coach for or play for, particularly when you're on defense, than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Only 3 coaches since 1969.
Here's a little kick, and it's taken by Hag, and he falls down as time expires here in the first half. So the top 3 running backs all fumble. They're on the bench. They bring in the rookie. He goes in, and a heads-up play, bouncing outside. A 1-yard touchdown run, which gives the Steelers a 1-point lead at halftime. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a 1-point lead as we go to the second half over the Cleveland Browns. Some of your thoughts?
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, playing with their 3rd-string quarterback in Charlie Batch, came in saying they had to rely on their committee of running backs to win this ball game, and that committee of running backs has failed the Pittsburgh Steelers because we've seen 3 fumbles by 3 different ball carriers in the first half. The first by Rashard Mendenhall, then the second by Isaac Redman, then Jonathan Dwyer, the 3rd running back to fumble in the first half of the game, then the 4th running back, Chris Rainey. Maybe he's cracked the code to this Cleveland Brown defense. He's been able to find the end zone, and we're going to see more of him in the second half.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. First half numbers, as you see right there, the time of possession, the turnovers for Pittsburgh, and yet they lead by 1.
Yeah, and the crucial 1 turnover by the Cleveland Browns was a Brandon Whedon interception by Lawrence Timmons. He returned it for a touchdown, so you can see the points off turnovers, 7 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and 10 points made by the Cleveland Browns off the 3 turnovers by the Pittsburgh Steelers running game. So if you're Brandon Whedon, you got to do a better job of protecting the ball here in the second half and continue to chip away at this defense by throwing the ball outside of the numbers. That's where the safer throws have occurred for the rookie quarterback.
Well, you may recall the flip of the coin was won by Pittsburgh. They deferred, so they're going to get the kickoff here to begin the second half. Rainey will be back to retrieve it, and Dawson, who has kicked field goals today of 29 and 32 yards, and is 21 of 21 this season, kicks this one a bit shy of the 5, picked up at the 9 by Rainey, and he is finally brought down. Nice tackle made right there by Wade. 16-yard return, and Charlie Batch will be back out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Now, if you're Charlie Batch, what do you have to do? You've got to start making some throws. We've seen him miss on some wide open opportunities in the first half. He's got to settle down. I thought he did so on that final drive where they went right down the field and were able to get the ball into the end zone. But he's got to do a better job and have a higher completion percentage here in the second half and get missed wide open receivers.
As we mentioned back in the first half, Legursky has taken the place of Cologne at the left guard. Colone's knee, which was injured earlier, swelled up this morning. First reception made by Wallace on 1st and 10. Run out of bounds by T.J. Ward. And the catch and run take him to the 30-yard line. And he picks up 9 on the play.
Well, they're trying to create some easy throws for Charlie Batch because he did struggle in the first half. There you can see overthrowing Heath Miller on that throw. Pressure in his face, and then another overthrow of the wide open Heath Miller. He even says, hey, it's my bad. And I think he understands he's got to play better. With the way the running backs are struggling to hold on to the football today, Kevin, Charlie Batch is going to be expected to make more plays throwing the ball than I think we initially thought coming into the game.
There was a holding penalty on the Pittsburgh Steelers, so wipe out that 9-yard catch and run by Wallace. It's back at the 11.
Wow, those are the kind of penalties for Mike Tomlin. It really hurts because it now puts you behind schedule after Batchett made a nice throw, catch and run. And now they're looking at first and a long way to get another first down.
And Rainey begins this series in the backfield, 1st and 20. Heath Miller himself rolling right over the defensive back, who is still flattened out. There's another flag. It was an 8-yard catch and run. Was that Usama Young?
Wow. Heath Miller is...
I did not catch a number, and he didn't catch the license plate.
Oh, he's a superhero.
Offside. Defense number 92 lined up in the neutral zone. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Yeah, it is 28, and that is Usama Young.
Well, he's got
Watch
some movement.
Don't tip your head. Keep your head up, especially when a freight train like Miller is coming down the track, and we got a timeout and 14:21 to play in the third. Good sign is Usama Young has gotten up on his feet and walked unsteadily over to the sideline. They're looking at him, as you can see right now.
You know, the NFL has instituted a program called Heads Up Program. That's why you keep your head up, even if you're tackling guys like Heath Miller.
Deshaun Gibson is coming in his place, 1st and 15. Rainey chased by Robertson. Wrestled out of bounds near the 15. Loss of a yard on the play.
I think we've seen in this ball game the way the Cleveland Browns defense has been swarming, forcing fumbles. You just saw the physicality brought by Heath Miller. That's what the AFC North is all about, Kevin. This division, Mike Tomlin knows it all too well. Pat Shurmur knows it all too well. You've got to bring a lunch pail. Regardless of the records, these games are always closely fought between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, and I think the scoreboard reflects that.
6 defensive backs, 2nd down, 16. They need the 31-yard line. Miller again. Screen comes up and makes the tackle on a gain of 3 to the 17.
See, big men go down, even if you just grab them by the ankles, Kevin.
Yeah,
serve as an anchor, just bust a screen. He's like, I know how to tackle a big guy like Heath Miller. You go low. Keep your head up, but just tackle what you can get. Watch him go for that ankle. Look at, grab a leg, take one away, and Heath Miller's got to go down. That's just smart. Look at him keep his head up. I love the way he slid the head past the leg of Heath Miller, was able to wrap up and get him on the ground. Doesn't have to look pretty, but very effective.
We've seen no more Mendenhall, Redmond, or Dwyer, all 3 fumbling. Rainey is the one who scored the touchdown. Rainey was in the backfield. It was a 3rd and 13.
Offense.
A delay game.
Remains 3rd down.
Makes it even more difficult for Charlie Batch.
Well, they were slow getting the play in from the sideline as well. And you have to be able to streamline the plays and get it in so the quarterback can get the ball snapped. But if he has to change the play at the line of scrimmage, that can also force you to burn time on the clock. You can see Mike Tomlin's not too happy about it because it creates a 3rd and impossible, 3rd and 18. Now you just have to really, number 1 priority, protect the football, not turn it over in this situation.
And again, they need the 31. At the time, finds Miller. Screen brings him down. Hagg is there along with Joe Hayden. Pickup of 9. Well shy of the first down to the 21-yard line, and they got a punt.
See, that delay of game penalty really cost them, I think, a real opportunity to convert that 3rd down situation. That's why Mike Tomlin was so hot. You almost destined yourself to have to be able to punt the football and turn it back over to the Cleveland Browns.
Drew Butler will punt to Josh Cribbs. Cribbs complained a couple weeks ago that he was not being used enough in the offense. That's holding true. He's not been used hardly at all today. Back at the 25 and brought down. Cortez Allen was right there, and also Curtis Brown. 52-yard punt, setting things up for rookie quarterback Brandon Weeden. Weeden has thrown a very short touchdown pass today. A couple turnovers by the Pittsburgh Steelers resulted directly in 10 points for the Browns. A couple field goals by Dawson. They begin off with 3.5 by Pittsburgh, although it seemed a lot more than that what you just saw. First down and 10. Wheaton comes it out. Richardson. There's a lot of touches. Will Allen can't bring him down. Here comes Harrison. He does bring him down. It's a catch and run of 4 to the 28. We take you to New York and James Brown.
Julio!
You will make score no touchdowns before it's time, JB. Matt Ryan to Julio Jones. He's in a hurry, JB. He's picking him up, putting him down. 80 yards. Atlanta's back in front, 17-13 over Tampa.
Give me a Kevin Harlan throw.
With no regard for mankind.
Kevin and Solid.
Second down and 6, and Richardson goes for 4. Brought down, let's see, they had Clark there among a couple to make the stop on Trent Richardson out of Alabama.
And now can Pat Shermer's group on the offense side of the ball put together long drives against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense? Can you take time off the clock, keep the ball out of the hands of Charlie Batch? And that's where Wheaton has to be able to play good situational football. Give your defense a rest and try to force the Steelers to play from behind and see if you can wear down their defense by maintaining possession on the ball and converting to 3rd and 2.
Odin Kiesel on that defensive line, 3rd and a long 2. Wheaton, Massaquoi, drilled by Keenan Lewis. He's got the first down to the 36. He picks up 4, and the Browns move the chain.
Well, Massaquoi knows this defense can lay some licks on you. He's been hit hard before by Harrison. Now he's hit hard again by Lewis. Oh, boy, you got to get tired of that in your career at some point in time, don't you, Kevin?
Well, he's missed time because of it. And some people think, in fact, that his ineffective play, not of late, because he's begun to turn the corner, but he was a high pick, and here's a guy that has had a couple years lost because of that. First down and 10. Richardson again bulldozing up the middle. The leading tackler, Larry Foote, makes the stop. It's a gain of 7 to the 43 as we gain New York with James.
Seattle looking for its 2nd road win.
Yes, JB, and Russell Wilson looking for his 2nd TD pass of the day. And he finds a wide open Michael Robinson into the end zone 4 yards away, 14-7, Seattle over the Dolphins.
Kevin, none better with the call than you. Kevin and Solid.
Hey, no, my man can bring it, right, JB?
Second down and 3. Richardson runs into a roadblock, and that's number 92. Route 92 is shut down. Harrison right there. It's a loss of 3. Tackles for losses are almost as effective as sacks, and Harrison very good at that.
And that's exactly right. Look, they've got it all walled off. Nowhere to go for Richardson. A host of defenders coming up to make the play. And going back to what JB was saying, even Ryan Clark, when we talked to him yesterday, he said, when I listen to Kevin Harlan talk, it's as if I'm listening to a game, and I'm standing right here and he's in the room. He was very complimentary, my friend.
Where's the volume switch? Turn it down. Thank you. 3rd and 5. Massaquoi back in and on the move. Richardson offering a block and Wheaton outside. Almost picked off on the play by Taylor. They were going for little. Yep, just about this. You mentioned it. Just almost the 2nd time that he's had a pick of Wheaton's pass this afternoon.
When they hit you in the hands, you got to make the play. And this is why this defense doesn't have as many turnovers as you think. Look, that's the 2nd time Mike Taylor had an opportunity to get the interception. They only have 6 so far this year. One of those 6 came early in the 1st quarter by Lawrence Timmons.
A punt from Hodges. And it's Emmanuel Sanders chasing it down at about the 13, and he fumbled the ball, and he gets it again. That baby bounced off his chest. 46-yard punt. Timeout, 8:03 in the 3rd. As part of the NFL's Play 60 initiative, Browns players visited Big Creek Elementary School in Middleburg Heights, Ohio, earlier this month. Players, as you can see right there, spoke to students about the importance of exercise and good health. Play 60. And that's not what Cribbs is going to play today. He is walking off the field, running right there, and he'll be looked at. I think he got hit pretty hard on that return moments ago. Rainey, 1st and 10. Hit by Dequel Jackson with the run of 4 to the 19-yard line.
Now, Rainey is an elusive running back. He's not big in size. He checks in at 5'9", 180 pounds. But more than anything, priority number 1 has to be ball protection. We already seen a fumble by Mendenhall, a fumble by Redmond, a fumble by Dwyer. Now he's the 4th running back to come into the game, already having 1 rushing touchdown. If you want to continue to get the carries and the touches of the ball, hold on to the football to preserve this lead.
They're telling us that Cribbs has a shoulder issue. He might return. 2nd down and 6. And Gibson taking the place of the injured Young in the secondary. What if Charlie zeroing in on him? He might be. He's got Wallace. It hit the helmet of Ward and ricochets incomplete as they're going deep for the speed merchant Mike Wallace out of Mississippi.
Wallace had yet another gear. He waited for the ball, then he kicked in, started running even faster. And I think Batch has a nice throw here. Fortunate for Cleveland. Look at TJ Ward. He runs right under. He never sees the ball. Boom, right off the top of his dome. And Wallace never has an opportunity to catch it. Ran right under it. And I think that's about as far as Batch could throw that one, even though he needed to throw it even further to get the ball to Wallace.
All that's years in your head, TJ Ward. There's a 3rd and 6. Batch intercepted by Sheldon Brown. They were going for Plexico Burress. The interception is made at the 31-yard line, and again a turnover for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This is just a great play by Wallace. Watch him undercut it. See, now look at the drive angle there, and that's what you have to do. What did Tomlin tell us about these wide receivers? We're going to see the route coming here, and then look, this is the break right there by Sheldon Brown. He said that the receivers can't drift at the top of their route, and that's what Burress does there. He doesn't drive back to the ball, and that's why Sheldon Brown can cut underneath and come away with the interception. Very difficult to get off your sofa and play at a very high level in the NFL.
It's the 2nd pick by Sheldon Brown this season, reading 1st and 10. On to go deep, he'll go underneath, and it's caught by Richardson. Hit by Timmons. He carves his way for just a couple. We'll call it 3, and he's down to the 29.
Kevin, it's the 4th turnover by this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, and all have come in their own territory, which means they put Brandon Wheaton on a short field. And so if you're the Cleveland Browns, you got to be able to turn this into points. We've said it before. With the previous 3 turnovers, they've converted those into 10 of their 13 points so far.
2nd down and 6. Block on Worlds. Catch by Massaquoi. Tackle by Lewis. Shy of the 10. 1st down. 16-yard pickup.
Wow, this Cleveland Browns offense, you can tell they're playing some complementary football. Look at Wheaton. He understands he's got to be able to move the ball down the field, getting the ball over to Mohamed Massaquoi. Look at Mo. Nice. Watch him come back to the ball. See how he just works it right there? It's just a really good route being run right there. Good throw, good catch.
His 3rd catch today. Brad Childers, their offensive coordinator, said he hopes to use him more. He missed some games with a hamstring. 1st and goal from the 10. False start. Cleveland.
False start. Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Tight end Ben Watson caught on the movement. Forced to hold it a little bit. Looked like they were bringing everyone in that Pittsburgh Steelers defense on a blitz.
Now it's 1st and goal back at the 15-yard line. Richardson will go with the block. A block by Thomas, and a touchdown. A 15-yard run, and the Browns are back on top.
Well, this is a rare sight. This Pittsburgh Steelers defense, they don't give up many rushing touchdowns at all. One of the key blocks by Alex Smith, number 81. Watch him right here, Kevin. Look at that. Moving Timmons out of the pocket. Ryan Clark overruns it, which is why Richardson was able to go in untouched after he cleared the line of scrimmage for a touchdown. Well-designed play by Pat Shermer, calling the offensive plays for Cleveland.
Extra point by Dawson. 20-14. Batch throws the interception. Sheldon Brown is the one to nab it. They had a 16-yard pass to Massaquoi. Then a 15-yard touchdown run by Richardson. We've got 4 turnovers by the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one, which Cleveland has scored 17 points off of.
Yeah, and we talked about, of course, Trent Richardson being drafted for games such as this in the AFC North. And boy, that run paid off with the 3rd overall pick in the 2012 draft.
Leonard Pope, backup tight end with the fair catch at about the 18-yard line. Wednesday in primetime, JB, Phil Simms, and Chris Collinsworth showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style. It's Inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. They might be talking about this game if it keeps going the way it's going.
Well, we said that this team was much improved here in Cleveland, that they've become competitive, even though they're the youngest team in the NFL under Pat Shurmur. Now finding a way to win ball games, I think that's the next level of development, and let's see if they can take that next step here today.
Mendenhall is in, first time since the fumble. Here he takes it on 1st and 10. Not much there. Screen along with Frosty Rucker. Limit him to a gain of 1 to the 19.
I think if you're Pittsburgh, you've got to come away with a win in this ball game. They had won 4 or 5 coming into today's game. They lost to Baltimore last week. They're going to play Baltimore again next week. And Mike Tomlin knows that games come at a premium, not just inside of your division, but in the AFC as a whole, trying to keep pace with the Baltimore Ravens. This is an all-important game for Mike Tomlin and his football team.
Cleveland in their base, 43 defense, 2nd down and 9. Underneath the Heath Miller, hit by DeQuell Jackson and James Michael Johnson. There's a rookie out of Nevada, pickup of 9 on the play, and he's up to the 29-yard line. Should have a first down. Let's see where they spot the ball, and they do give him the first.
Yeah, Miller's not going to be he's not going to be kept from converting that into a first down, just being inches away. You know, we got to talk about Mike Tomlin's football team without Ben Roethlisberger. I think they are a different team without Ben. Even Ryan Clark said it himself. He said, you know, it's difficult to replace a Ben Roethlisberger. He makes us all better with his ability to extend plays.
Mendenhall on 1st and 10, blocked by Johnson. And a tackle by DeQuell Jackson along with Gibson in the secondary. Gain of 9, flag thrown on the play.
Holding. Offense number 83. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Staggering Steelers get called right there. Let's go back to our CBS studios.
Peyton getting it done.
JB, when you throw a pass so perfect, you call this a long handoff. Peyton Manning, 30-yard. Demaryius Thomas underneath. The Broncos are on top, 14-9 over the Chiefs.
As Dan Marino taught me, it's in the basket. Back to Kev and Solid.
You and I saw the Broncos beat San Diego last week.
Yeah, Manning could put it in the basket with the best of them who's ever played.
1st and 20. Here comes Taylor, and down goes Batch. A sack right there, the first authored by the Cleveland Browns, all the way back to the 13-yard line.
He's going to beat the left guard, Doug Legursky, starting in place of Willie Colon. And this is, look at him. He's going to come right here, Kevin, right up the middle. You see 64 Legursky with his head down. How about Taylor? This guy goes about, 313 pounds? And 335, I should say. And look at the speed in which he's able to close in on the quarterback. We told you, with him back in the lineup, oh yeah, he's made a huge difference in this defense.
There's a lineman down. They're looking at him right now, and that is the right tackle, Mike Adams, taking the place of the injured Marcus Gilbert. Mike Adams is off. He's replacing the injured Marcus Gilbert. They're down to the 3rd right tackle, Kelvin Beachum, a rookie 7th-round pick out of SMU. It's 2nd down and 26. They need the 39. With the block, Batch niftily moving up, and he finds Miller, and there goes Heath Miller by Jackson, brought down by Sheldon Brown. A flag is back at the 11. Could wipe it away. A 33-yard gain is wiped away.
Holding. Offense number 68.
Oh,
At the distance to the goal. Repeat second down.
That's Beacham, the right tackle, comes in, trying to protect Charlie Batch now. It's becoming very difficult against a defense, Kevin, that had 7 sacks 1 week ago. And there you see him right here. He's going to come back. And this is Rubin coming in, working against the right tackle. Number 71, look, he steps out right there. Rubin's working. I'm not so sure. There was the holding. I'm not so sure right there. A little grab of the jersey there. But well after Batch had stepped up.
Jabal Sheard was the one paired up on Beacham. Now 2nd and 32. How about the Steelers on their 3rd quarterback, their 3rd right tackle? They've had their top 3 running backs fumble today. They've got 2 wide receivers out, Cotchery and Brown. Wow. 2nd and 32. Almost picked off, incomplete. Going for Sanders. Coverage on the play by Jackson, and screen was almost there to get the ricochet.
And they're so backed up, Kevin. Now Batch has to take some shots down the field. He can't be so overly protective. Look, he throws that into the teeth of the defense. Looked like Jackson was going to have a chance to intercept it, but Sanders has got to cut in front of the defender. Possibly could have come down with the football. But right now, they've got to be more aggressive and take a few more chances now that they trail by 6 in the ball game. 3rd and 32. You don't want to risk the turnover and yet again give the ball to Cleveland on a short field.
Got to get to the 39. Redmond was in. Batch, Redmond, and Haig is there to make the stop. Well, shy of the first down. A little, as on the shovel pass, it was like a softball, little toss, and nice play by Hughes. 15-yard pickup. They got a punt.
Hey, you got to give Dick Duran and the defensive coordinator for Cleveland a lot of credit. They understand the situation. And I think by leading in this ballgame, leading on the scoreboard, it allows you to understand that Pittsburgh has to throw the ball to get back into it, and they're just pinning their ears back, coming after the quarterback, forcing the throws underneath.
Cribbs is back. They looked at his shoulder in the locker room. This ball lands in front of him and kicks out of bounds with 1:55 to play in the 3rd. And a flag is down at the 18-yard line on that 48-yard punt. Ron Winter's been a bit busy today. The penalties on the Steelers have numbered 7, just 3 so far in Cleveland. 3 on Cleveland after they had 12 last week in Dallas. And they were debilitating penalties last week, most on the secondary.
Well, the Steelers have the 2nd most special teams penalties in the National Football League, and it continues to plague them today.
Special teams struggled, you may recall, earlier in the season. Penalties wiped out, long returns by Brown and Rainey.
During the kick, holding, kicking team number 58. It's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
There is no 58. Hey, vote to send your favorite players to the 2013 Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Vote online or with your mobile device at NFL.com/Pro Bowl or text Pro Bowl to MyNFL. You vote, they play. Back to the 20-yard line, a look at Ben Roethlisberger with an injury that is, athletic trainers have said they don't see very often. In fact, there's no recent case study that they can follow, and that is not a good sign. There goes Adams.
Yeah, that leaves a gaping hole. Remember, you know, teams just don't have 3 good tackles that really can help solidify your offensive line play as well as the starters. And now you can see things start to deteriorate the Steelers' offense.
The penalty, by the way, was on L.J. Fort. Here's a flag, here's a pass, all at the same time. And Jordan Cameron looking outside on the pass from Whedon with the coverage on the play by Will Allen, a pickup of 4. And let's see what the flag is all about.
Holding. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Sean Laval.
Both offensive lines just doing whatever they can to protect their quarterback as the Browns are now backed up just a bit. Again, I think if you're Cleveland, when you have a lead such as this, you're playing with a rookie quarterback against Dick LeBeau's defense, this is about Trent Richardson. It's about giving him the ball and letting him turn out guards.
First and 20, and Richardson to find some room. The tackle made by Clark, it's a gain of 1. Hampton had left on that play, and Cortez Allen had come in, and that meant the 5th defensive back was in there for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think Dick LeBeau doesn't know that they got to give the ball to Richardson in this type of situation. He brought up Brian Clark from that secondary plugged up the holes. It was the equivalent to blitzing the run.
I was a ball boy for Dick LeBeau when he was at Green Bay.
That's right.
My dad was with the Packers, and
He was a young coach. He began his coaching career in Green Bay.
It was his first year as a defensive backs coach. I was his assistant during summer camp. 2nd and 19. Benjamin, the rookie, right in front of Keenan Lewis. And he's got a nice gain, picking up a ton right there. 13. They'll spot him at the 24. Another flag thrown.
Holding. Offense number 66.
Wow.
Guys half the distance to the goal. Repeat 2nd down.
It's the same guy, Sean Laval, the right guard. 2 consecutive plays, 2 consecutive holding calls. Right now he's killing the offense because that would have been a first down, and now they're going to be backed up. Here he is, 66 right there.
Trying to handle Hood.
Yeah, he was handling him all right. He was grabbing everything he could.
You're right.
Pat Shermer is none too happy play of his offensive line, in particular Sean Laval.
We finally got word on Lamar Woodley, and he's out because of a ankle injury. He might return. 2nd and 24. Richardson outside. Timmons is right there, running him out of bounds. We mentioned before that Lamar Woodley was out. That's a loss of a yard on the play, and Worlds has been taking his place.
Well, Lawrence Timmons has just been one of the best players, I think, all season long for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not only making that quick tackle in a fast and furious way, he's put points on the board today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the first quarter, he had a pick 6, ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, intercepted, return for a touchdown by Timmons. As we get ready to go into the 4th quarter, they're going to need more plays. Mike Tomlin and that Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
On the right, Mike Tomlin Steelers are trailing first place Baltimore by 2 games. They have no idea when their quarterback Ben Roethlisberger will be back. On the left, you see head coach Pat Shermer. His team can't close. They've blown some 4th quarter leads, including last week. This season, can they close and hold off their rival, the Steelers? With a lead right now, going to the 4th. And it is 3rd and 23 for Wheaton. Buried in his own zone. Reads the 30. Great time. Greg Little drilled on the play by Harrison. It is a gain of 6. They got to punt the ball. The gain up to the 13-yard line.
Yeah, Kevin, as we move into the 4th quarter, you talked about the Cleveland Browns. 5 of their 8 losses occurring by 7 points or less with 6 games to go. Even Brandon Wheaton said it, says, hey, we're not naive. We have a new owner. We're under new management. He said we are all playing for our jobs. And it is games like this within the division. When you have a lead going into the 4th quarter, you got to be able to close them out at home.
Rodgers with no pressure. Emmanuel Sanders, his own 47. Now he gets into Cleveland territory with a poor punt and a run and a hit on the play made by Tank Carter. 40-yard punt, 8-yard return.
Cleveland Browns have certainly had their opportunities. Here's the ones that have gotten away. Week 1 against Michael Vick, had a touchdown with 1:18 left in the ball game, so allow that one to slip right through their palms. And then Week 9 against the Baltimore Ravens, they scored 11 points in the final 4 minutes of the ball game, and they fall to the Ravens 25-15. And then you move forward to last week against the Dallas Cowboys, and Bailey makes a game-tying field goal with 2 minutes left. They end up losing that game in overtime. The Browns have now lost 4 consecutive games in overtime.
Mendenhall is in, and on first, the fumble by Mendenhall, his 2nd today. Did Rucker get it? No, looked like Will Johnson may have reeled it in as Mendenhall has fumbled twice. They've lost 1. Here comes Dwyer. There goes Mendenhall.
He didn't even hesitate. Mendenhall himself started running right over to the sideline. Look, no reason to fumble that football. No one stripped it away. He was just hitting the ball, pops right up. Look, remember in the Super Bowl against the Green Bay Packers, he fumbled on a crucial drive. His inability to hold it high and tight continues to plague him a couple of years later.
Dwyer, top of your screen. 2nd down and 10. Best beginning field position today for Batch and his offense. Pocket crumbles, buying some time. He gets it off. Down to the 28 with the tackle made by DeQuell Jackson, a catch by Emmanuel Sanders. He picks up 15 yards. We'll spot him at the 28.
Well, this is something you normally see with Ben Roethlisberger. Scrambling, buying time, extending plays. Normally the ball's coming out a lot quicker. How about Sanders able to uncover, finding the soft spot in the zone? With Ben Roethlisberger, his strengths is his ability to stay alive. And Byron Leftwich, his strengths was stretching the field with that big-time arm. For Charlie Batch, quick throws. You have to be ready when you're the wide receiver when Batch is in the game.
First down and 10 with the new left guard and a new right tackle, and it's Dwyers. Hesitating, Ward stopped him, and then Wynn took him down. But Ward was the one shooting through, a loss of 2, back to the 30.
The ability of both coordinators to blitz the run. Watch TJ Ward knifing in. He came a long way. He was some 10 yards in depth. And then you see him creep to the line of scrimmage, shooting in the backfield. And they just pinch off every single area. There's nowhere to go for these runners for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nagurski at the left guard, taking the place of the injured Willie Colon, who did not start in the game. Nagurski did. Now the right tackle Beecham is in there. A rookie taking the place of the injured Mike Adams. 2nd and 12. Quick hitter and bobbled, and it's intercepted by Wynn. Wallace could not find the handle. Wynn has come up with his first career interception. The rookie out of Boise State, the 5th turnover by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, just another bad throw on the backside of the receiver. It's tipped, intercepted, 5th of the game in terms of turnover for the Browns.
Batch with 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles by 3 different running backs for the Steelers, and wow, that's a bad resume right there. In week 12 of the NFL. Here is a 1st and 10 from the 26 for Brandon Weeden. Trent Richardson hit by, there's a flag, Keenan Lewis along with Lawrence Timmons, and a gain of 1 to the 27. Let's see what this is all about. Mike Tomlin it's like he's playing with one hand tied behind his back.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face. Defense number 98. A 5-yard penalty and a first down.
That's the Pro Bowler Casey Hampton, and that surprises Mike. He had the look of a guy saying, "You got to be kidding."
Yeah, this football team, I think, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you've got to keep your poise. You're still in it. Plenty of time left in the ball game. You're down by 6. The defense has to come away and make a play. They've had opportunities on defense to get interceptions. There you see the hands to the face there by Hampton.
Into the center, Alex Mack, 1st and 10, 32. Richardson, he finds a seam, and then Foote finds him. A gain of 7. He's up to the 39-yard line. And coming up on the Subway postgame show, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for the latest NFL scores, news, and highlights. All coming up on the Subway postgame show from our CBS studios in New York. Tough day for Batch and the Pittsburgh offense. 2nd down and 3. Richardson, he got a block from Smith, another flag, as he is brought down on the play by Ryan Clark in the secondary. Gain up to the 41. 2-yard gain.
Holding. Offense number 55. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
1 minute it's Laval, the next minute it's the center, Alex Mack. Boy, if you're Pat Shurmur, you got to say, okay, let's cut it out, guys. The offense is doing a good job of moving the football and having positive, productive plays against Dick LeBeau's defense, but these penalties are beginning to mount and kill the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland's got 7 penalties, and 6 have come this half. 2nd down and 13 for Wheaton. Up the middle they come. He's devoured by Kiesel. No one was on him. He rambles through. 3rd sack registered by the Steelers. Back to the 20, and a loss on the play of 8.
That's the kind of play that the Pittsburgh Steelers was looking for. You can see they tried to pass off Kiesel, and his speed to the quarterback is able to beat him at the line of scrimmage. They needed to come away with a big-time stop, and now on 3rd down, they need yet another play so they can get good field position if they can come up with a turnover or force the punt. 3rd sack this season for Brett Kiesel.
Kiesel gets it. Foot comes out. Curtis Brown comes in. Another defensive back. 3rd and 21. They need the 42. Flag day out there. Man, they're all over the field. The tackle made by Timmons. It's Richardson up to about the 28, 8-yard pickup. And we'll go from here. Ron Winter and his crew, a combined 15 penalties so far.
Holding. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
That's John Greco, who's come in to replace Jason Pinkston, who had a blood clot issue.
Every member of this interior offensive line,
the entire line has been called
and penalized, and you can see most of Cleveland's penalties have come in the second half. Shurmur's offense is moving backwards, and you know he's upset, Kevin, because this is one of the reasons why they cannot finish off games. You get a 6-point lead, you get the ball back after getting a turnover. You've got to be able to churn out the yards by running the football, but these penalty flags are undermining their efforts to close out this game.
They could have declined and made it 4th down. Instead, they make it 3rd and 31. So here comes Richardson. And you see Timmons along with Cortez Allen, who make the stop. Basically a 6-yard gain up to the 19. They got to punt the ball. And they can do nothing with the interception of Batch and the possession given to them on the 5th turnover by Pittsburgh.
The penalties are killing them, and we may have to come back to this if indeed the Browns struggle to close out this football game. I think we come back to that series and those moments and flurry of penalties that just showed you their inability to play well at critical moments in games.
4 and punt. Hodges to Sanders. Fair caught after a 46-yarder. Drives him back to the 35. What's the confidence level of this offense now? Here comes Batch, down by 6. After the 4 and out by the Browns, here's Batch, 35-yard line, 1st and 10 Rainey. Hesitates and then takes it up into the secondary. There's Rubin making the stop on a gain of 7.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have turned the ball over 5 times in today's game. Runners like Mendenhall has fumbled. Isaac Redmond, he's put the ball on the ground and turned it over, and so has Jonathan Dwyer. But after the 3 fumbles by running backs, 2 interceptions by Charlie Batch, costly interceptions to give the Cleveland Browns great field position, and they've been able to turn it into points at the Cleveland Browns. They have 17 points off 5 turnovers for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Rainey on 2nd and 3. Looked like he slipped right there. Coming through was James Michael Johnson. Loss of a yard on the play. But listen to this, Salman. This Pittsburgh team has faced adversity all season. They lose Polamalu. They lost Harrison. They fly, the day of the game to New York. They're on the 3rd quarterback in 3 games. They got today a brand new left guard and a brand new right tackle. The one thing is they have navigated these things pretty well to be 6 and 4. In fact, they've got 2 fourth quarter come from behind wins this year.
What does Mike Tomlin say? No excuses, no explanations. Just go out and play football. He expects his team to continue to play at a high level.
Redmond in the backfield, 3rd and 4 for Batch. Blocked by Starks, a short pass uncatchable for Wallace. Shoving after the play in the middle of the field, which has to be broken up, and Pittsburgh has got a punt.
And that's what Mike Tomlin was most concerned about, the lack of cohesion between quarterbacks and wide receivers. Look, you throw it out there, but you've got to drive it home. You've got to trust that the receiver is going to be there. You can tell Batch was very careful on the throw and wasn't fully committed with driving that ball outside the numbers.
Butler the punt, and Cribbs is back and on the move from the 24. Cribbs brought down by Cortez Allen. Monday was there, up to the 39, 14-yard return. A 6-point lead in the 4th quarter for rookie Brandon Wheaton. Well, scouts around the NFL tell us they like the talent in Cleveland. It's a rising team, but can they close the deal here?
Oh, that's going to be the key, and even Pat Shurmur said that we have to get close and force the Steelers to play from behind. They have exactly what they want.
Wheaton on 1st and 10. There was a block by Watson. He just hits the deck because Worlds, who's taken the place of the injured Woodley, was on his back. A loss of 5 back to the 34.
Fans don't like it, but I think it was a smart play by Wheaton. You don't want to run out of bounds and stop the clock. I think you stay in bounds and keep things going.
I think you said the magic word.
Absolutely.
Keep the clock
Keep
going.
the clock going, even though we saw the clock stop there momentarily.
I don't know why it would have.
That's why I was concerned, but it should not have stopped at all.
No, exactly. Second down and 14. 5 defensive backs for the Steelers. Whedon. Hit by Allen. Twirls his way to midfield and got the first down with the corkscrew move. He picks up 15 on second, 14, first down, Cleveland.
Josh Gordon is a big, rangy wide receiver with speed, knifing into the middle of the play. Will Allen struggling to get him on the ground. It was a good route run by Gordon. Getting across the face of the safety presented a nice, easy target for Whedon to complete that pass over the middle.
Gordon's a rookie. The quarterback's a rookie. The top running back is a rookie. A rookie right tackle. Whedon's hit 5 in a row. First and 10. Jordan Cameron knocked down by Clark. A soft touch there, picking up 7 on the play, and they'll put him at the 44. And tonight on 60 Minutes, Laura Logan travels to Africa with legendary filmmakers to show you big cats like you've never seen them before. We got a sneak preview of it. Looks great. You want to watch it tonight, 60 Minutes, right here on CBS. Second down and 3.
Go.
Richardson, nice tackle once again. If I said Ryan Clark's name about 15 times today, he's all over the place. They lose a yard right there.
Well, he's been incredible coming up, making a tackle. He just made a tackle on the perimeter by Jordan Cameron after he caught that ball. And if Clark doesn't make that tackle, Cameron's going to score a touchdown. Now on the big third down and fourth play, this is where Whedon has to come up big. He's got to continue to extend this drive against Dick LeBeau's defense.
It's that big helmet he's wearing.
I think it has something more to do with that. Great footwork in terms of his tackling technique.
You're right. Third and 4. Going inside. That time Allen was on Gordon. There was big time pressure, and Whedon got drilled and was losing parts of his equipment.
Mouthpiece.
He was hit so hard. Watch this hit. And whirls. The knee of his left tackle tops his head.
Pittsburgh Steelers defense come up with a hit, and then Pat Shurmur, he's upset, saying, you got to protect my quarterback, because they felt there was some extra stuff going on there that he took more of a beating than he should have.
Third consecutive punt coming up for the Cleveland Browns. Hodgins will kick it on the nose of the ball, that rugby kick, and it goes straight up and is fair caught at about the 14-yard line by Sanders. A 30-yard punt, well placed. A lot on the plate right now for 37-year-old Charlie Batch. All right, here come the Steelers after the punt by Cleveland. First and 10. All 3 timeouts remaining for Batch. From the 15. And he finds Miller underneath, and jumping on his back is James Michael Johnson. It's a first down throw. It's a pickup of 13. He's up to the 27. Cleveland's last win. Pittsburgh has now won 16-17 between these two. Browns' last win came in December 2009. Roethlisberger was sacked 8 times. Chris Jennings scored the game-winning touchdown in a 10-yard run in the second quarter. The Browns won a low-scoring affair, 13-6.
And now, can they close this one out? Because Pittsburgh has won 16 of their last 17 against the Cleveland Browns.
First down. Underneath, Heath Miller again on the move, rumbling his way up to the 47-yard line. Brought down after a 20-yard catch and run in the secondary by Gibson.
Yeah, and I think he's found someone that he can hang his hat on, getting the ball over to Heath Miller in tight coverage. He's able to separate from the linebacker. And if you're pulling away from a guy like Greg Robertson, you know you're pretty good. Robertson's very good in coverage with Miller. He's just such a versatile tight end. In my mind, one of the best in the National Football League at doing everything at a very high level.
And he has been in the backfield during this drive. First and 10. Rainey. Hit by Wynn. Spun around by DeQuell Jackson on a gain of a yard. to about the 47-yard line. So Miller's been big on this drive, which for backs in that offense began at the 15-yard line.
One thing we can say, this is a very physical football game. This Cleveland Brown defense, they're bringing it, led by DeQuell Jackson, their middle linebacker. And I think this is the defense, the opportunity they're looking for. They want to win this ball game. You can close it out. 3:25 left. Got to shut the door on this Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
2nd and 9 to go. Dropped by Rainey and a flag thrown on the play. I was just ready to talk about Wallace. They've thrown to him 5 times. He's not made any catches today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Caught one, but it was called back because of a penalty. And here's a penalty right here with 3:16 to play. And the Steelers, who have won 4 straight over the Cleveland Browns in 16-17, as we just showed you.
Holding. Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Well, an important story emerging. Whedon has just been taken to the locker room, and Colt McCoy, who has started his fair share of games over the years, 21 starts, including 13 last year, is warming up, and Whedon is headed to the locker room.
And Whedon had his head hit on the knee of Harrison, who was coming in from the other side as Whedon was being slung down to the ground.
And the last time we saw McCoy, he was getting drilled by Pittsburgh. Knocked out. 2nd and 19. They need the 44 of the Browns. Reaching with a nice block. There goes a flag. Here's a pass to Will Johnson, who is brought down by Hayden and by Screen. It's a gain of 7 on the play to the 44. Here we go.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. Defense number 97. 5-yard penalty and a 1st down.
It's on Jabal Sheard on the defensive line for Cleveland.
Well, there's been a lot of activity going on around the line of scrimmage. We've seen a number of linemen called for holding. Now they get one on the defense side, as Sheard's going to get the call.
He's from the University of Pittsburgh, is Jabal Sheard, a first-team All-America. 2nd-round pick by this team a couple of years ago. Let's watch this play of Whedon a couple minutes ago.
Watch as he's thrown down to the ground. Watch his head hit the knee right there. Either of his own player, Thomas, or Harrison. But that was a glancing blow. Remember, it dislodged his mouthpiece. So that's just how much of a forcible blow that we saw occur to the head of Brandon Whedon.
McCoy knows all about that when he faces Pittsburgh.
Concussions protocol require they take a look at it.
It is a 1st and 10. Going deep, he's looking for Wallace. He's covered by Hayden, and the ball's intercepted. Joe Hayden has just picked off Batch. The 3rd interception of Batch today. The 6th Pittsburgh turnover. And Cleveland trying to close the door.
How about Joe Hayden? We talk about ball skills for defensive backs in the NFL. We've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary drop 3 potential interceptions today, and here it is. It's just a 9 route. Take it deep. And then Hayden, watch 23. He's not afraid to allow Wallace to get beyond him because, look, he's watching the ball the entire way, Kevin. Tracks it, high points it, makes the catch on the ball. I can't tell you enough how critical ball skills are for defenders in the National Football League. It's the ability to take the ball away from the opposing offense, get the ball back to your football team, and close out ball games when they're on the line.
All turnovers are reviewed, and that is what is going on now for the stoppage of play. Here is Colt McCoy taking the place of the injured Brandon Whedon.
Mike Tomlin used to coach in the secondary back in his days under Tony Dungy in Tampa Bay. He knows about the ability to take that ball away.
Richardson brought down by foot. Minimal gain. We'll call it a pickup of 2 to the 21-yard line. So Hayden with the pick. Hayden has done a great job today, and that is the resume for the Steelers.
6 turnovers today by Mike Tomlin, and 3 interceptions by Batch. 3 fumbles by 3 different runners in today's game. They've put the ball on the ground an awful lot. They've turned it over. Batch was just giving his wide receiver an opportunity to make a play on the ball, and it was Hayden who actually made the play.
All right, coming up is the Subway postgame show. It's being put together for you right now in New York with James Brown, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher with scores, news, and highlights. A busy day in the NFL on this holiday weekend, this Thanksgiving holiday weekend, all coming up on the Subway postgame show. 2nd down and 8. Couple tight ends. Gordon on the move. McCoy, Richardson hit, taken down by Harrison. And Richardson took a wallop from the side. A loss of 2 is where they spot this ball back at about the 19. We've had Pittsburgh take 1 timeout. Pittsburgh has just taken a 2nd timeout with 1 left.
Watch this play by Harrison. Wow. Like, he carries a load. When you go down when he tackles you, you go down hard. It's a miracle Richardson's getting up after that one. Harrison was bringing a load.
And of course, that's a license plate that McCoy has seen before, that number 92 coming at him. That's the guy who knocked him out last year. Let's go back to December 8th when McCoy was quarterbacking this team.
Well, this was last year. It was in Pittsburgh. Look at the hit laid by Harrison on McCoy. Harrison was fined on this play, but it was a concussion that ended the season for Colt McCoy.
They know each other well, don't they? Here's a 3rd and 10. Richardson again, just not much there, trying to chisel his way. He's brought down by Worlds, again taking the place of the injured Woodley. It's a gain of 3 to the 21. And a timeout taken by Pittsburgh, so they are out of timeouts with 2:47 to play and down by 6.
But they're still in it, Kevin.
Yep.
And you have to give their defense a lot of credit for coming up with a 3 and out, stopping the Cleveland Browns offense, and Shurmur knows it. But remember, he's now playing with a backup quarterback. So both teams are playing without their starter at the quarterback position. Shurmur has an opportunity to close out this game with his offense on the field, and Colt McCoy hands it off 3 consecutive times. They didn't attempt to throw the ball at all. It was 3 run plays. Now they go 3 and out. Charlie Batch is going to have another shot.
As you take a look at the standings, Baltimore on the horizon for the Steelers next week, who beat them last week. 2 games in back of them and the tiebreaker. The Cleveland Browns have not had a punt block since 1993. Hodges. And deep back, Sanders. About the 30-yard line. Cribs hit him first, slowed him down there, then Buster Screen stops him and throws him back. A loss of 3 on the return after the 49-yard Reggie Hodges punt. With no timeouts remaining, here comes Batch. You can take a look at his background. Down by 6. They'll begin it at their own 26-yard line.
Well, you see Batch has put together 9 career game-winning or tying drives. They'll start at the Pittsburgh Steelers 26-yard line with 2:36 left to go. Pittsburgh Steelers right now, no timeouts except for the one they're going to get at the 2-minute warning.
6 in the secondary for the Cleveland Browns, 1st and 10. Rainey is in as the running back. Starts the block. Rainey the catch. Brought down by Hayden and DeQuell Jackson. There's a fumble and it's recovered. It's recovered by Taylor. And that may do it. A 7th Pittsburgh turnover. Rainey is down. Taylor vacuums in the loose ball. A hard hit by the Browns. Coughed up another turnover by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, we told you this is a hard-hitting rivalry. And Rainey is down, still down after being hit, checking out of the backfield. He's going to break 1 tackle, Kevin, this one by Hayden. But watch this second hit here. Look at T.J. Ward combined with the twisting down low by DeQuell Jackson. That's what gets the ball out. His hip was locked in a way that I think caused the kind of pain that forces that arm to unravel when the ball comes out.
A good sign they're going to get him back to his feet. Yeah, his body was going 18 different directions.
7 turnovers, 4 fumbles by all 4 running backs on this Pittsburgh Steelers roster. 3 interceptions.
I don't think I've ever seen
quarterback.
That. Have you the entire roster of running backs, each with a hand and a turnover today for the Steelers? I've never seen that before.
It makes it tough as a play caller if you're Todd Haley. Who do we trust with the football? Isaac Redmond has put it on the ground. We've seen 2 fumbles, only lost 1 by Rashard Mendenhall. Jonathan Dwyer also put the ball on the ground. All 4 of them. We just saw Chris Rainey fumble the ball, and then again 3 interceptions by Charlie Batch. 7 turnovers on the day by the Pittsburgh Steelers. We say turnovers are the great equalizer, you come in as the better football team, you equally minimize your abilities to win once you start turning it over.
McCoy remains the quarterback. It's 1st and 10, and Richardson is hit by Harrison. There was a loose ball, and it's picked up by Foot. Do they rule him down?
And it's down.
They rule him down at the 41-yard line. It's a loss of a yard on the play. The Steelers have no timeouts. This should
Second down.
This should take us right to the 2-minute warning. It'll stop right there. Wow. Watch it again. Richardson took it, was digging and lost it, and Foot came up with it. 2-minute warning. Well, we've watched it. It is a fumble, but it occurred before 2 minutes. They can't challenge because Pittsburgh is out of timeouts, and because it was not ruled a turnover on the field, it's not reviewable. Had it been ruled a turnover, they would look at it as all turnovers are reviewed.
And the only thing that we can tell, now look, his knee's not going to be down, Kevin.
No.
And the ball's out. But was there forward progress on the play? Remember, he's being driven back the entire time. And then the ball comes out before his knee is on the ground. But it was not ruled a turnover on the field, so it's not automatically reviewable by the officials, and it occurred outside of the 2-minute warning.
Again, the Steelers with no timeouts. 2-minute warning. 2nd down and 11 for the Pittsburgh 41. Richardson is a block by the tight end Smith. The tackle is made by Keenan Lewis. It's a pickup of 5. And there's pushing after the play. They spot him at the 36. The clock continues to go, and Pittsburgh can't stop it.
Now, if you're Trent Richardson, you are a rookie running back, but you got to be well aware that they're going to be clawing at the football. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers' only way of getting back into this ball game is to create a turnover and get the ball back very quickly for Mike Tomlin.
They just put in O'Neal Cousins, who's an extra offensive lineman. He'll be on the right side. This has been a tough day for Batch with the 3 picks. There have been 7 turnovers total for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now they put Cousins, the extra offensive lineman, on the left side. And it's 3rd and 6.
And Cleveland closed this out.
Richardson, Foot was there. Keenan Lewis comes in. The gain is a yard. Maybe 2 down to the 33. And so they're going to be short. 4th down.
7 turnovers today by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They came in saying they had to run the football and try to protect their 3rd string quarterback, Charlie Batch. But Rashard Mendenhall started the game. He fumbles. Isaac Redmond, the 2nd fumble of the game by Pittsburgh Steelers back. Dwyer puts it on the ground. And then Chris Rainey on the last possession. All 4 running backs in this Pittsburgh Steelers running back by committee have all put the ball on the ground and put their ability to win today's game in jeopardy.
Well, it would have been a 51-yard field goal, but what Cleveland will do is take the first of their 3 timeouts. 2nd left on the play clock. 28 seconds left on the big clock.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
So they're penalized 5 yards because of delay of game. But it looked like they had stopped with the timeout, the clock with the 2nd left, but that obviously was wrong.
Well, we came in asking the question, can Cleveland Browns close out a game today? They're 20 seconds away from closing this thing out and feeling like they are improving and moving in the right direction under Pat Shurmur. And then for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 consecutive losses in back-to-back weeks, they have to be terribly concerned. And then they go back saying, when can we get back Ben Roethlisberger?
How will they go for the block here? Before, Cleveland punter hasn't had 1 block since 1993. Sanders was back. This one's going to have some English on it. It's going to land at the 2 and stay inbounds, leaving the field of play at the 3. Did not go to the end zone. Was not a touchback. A well-placed 35-yarder by Reggie Hodgins. So the quarterback, Charlie Batch, with 3 picks today, will be marooned at his 3 with no timeouts. 20 seconds left. A date with Baltimore next week. No foreseeable sign right now that Roethlisberger or that Leftwich, the starter and the backup, will come back, and the backup to the backup. It looks like Batch has to go another week, and so here we go. with the Steelers down by 6.
20 seconds to go. You've got to take a shot down the field to Mike Wallace. And yeah, I'm sure the Cleveland Browns are going to get as far back maybe as the 40 or 50-yard line to prevent it.
6 defensive backs, 1st and 10.
Previous play will be reviewed.
Well, the ball clearly landed in play.
I want to go back and take a look at this one.
Let's watch screen.
Okay, it's in bounds.
He did.
Or it hit in bounds, and then he caught it out of bounds. Watch this. So it hit.
And see, what happened is he did not step on the goal line, as we saw on the previous replay. So
they're going to see if he stepped in the end zone or on that line. If so, they're going to say it was a touchback because he touched the ball before it clearly hit out of bounds.
A lot of green right there between that left foot and the chalk. And the same right there, too.
And looks close.
I think in our first replay, you could see it even better.
But see, he touched the ball, and that ball still hadn't hit out of bounds. So that's why they're saying if he did touch it, while at the same time his foot having touched that white chalk.
Here's the replay.
Would be a touchback. And see if he if he hits that white line, Kevin. Whoa, that's close. He did it. Buster Skrine would be better served letting that ball hit out of bounds, but I think we've got clear visual evidence that he did not step inside the goal line. There's clear separation there.
I like whatever that thing is called, what they just did right there. I like that thing. We kind of magnify the picture and get a real concise view.
That's called good technology.
Right now, Cleveland just looking for some kind of bright spot in their season, and this would provide a lot. They went to overtime last week in Dallas, played them well, almost won, lost in overtime. This would be against an arch rival at home against a division team. A huge shot in the arm for some of the program for Pat Shurmur, as they've had, as we mentioned before, 5 games decided by 7 points or less this season.
Well, they're a young football team. They're the youngest in the National Football League, and so you want to see some significant strides.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Pittsburgh.
Well, the replay was right there, and he saw what you saw, and so they leave it where it is. 1st and 10 for Batch and his offense, and no timeouts after 3. And 20 seconds left in the game.
Now, what do the Pittsburgh Steelers need to do? Remember, they don't have any timeouts. You throw it over the middle of the field and you don't get out of bounds, you're not going to have enough time to get the ball snapped again. Maybe you have an opportunity to spike it. I think you've got to keep the ball on the boundary, so if you do make the catch, you stand a chance of getting out of bounds and stopping the clock.
Giving him time, aren't they? Batch underneath Johnson. Out of bounds, he scampers at about the 16-yard line. And he picks up on the play 13. That is a first down. You see the fourth quarter time remaining 11 seconds. They'll put him at the 16.
There was only one read for Charlie Batch, and that was up top to Mike Wallace on the boundary. And then he just checked it down, and they're still able to get out of bounds and stop the clock. Clearly, you got maybe possibly time for one more play, but in that play, you got to be able to get out of bounds. If you don't get out of bounds, stop the clock, it's game over.
1st and 10. Batch out of bounds, 5 seconds left.
And after you have wide receivers run down the field for 2 consecutive plays, now this being the 3rd, boy, they're pretty much worn out, Kevin. Now I find it hard to believe they will be able to get behind any of these Cleveland Brown defenders. And if you're on the Cleveland Brown defense, they shouldn't get behind you. You've got to get as deep as you possibly can, knowing the ball is going to be thrown up. You come up to bat it down. Don't allow Pittsburgh Steelers to catch it.
2nd down and 10. Wallace. He'll start lateraling and throwing. And that is caught on the play by Sanders. He'll zigzag. He's hit by Ward. There's a fumble. It's recovered by Cleveland, and that's it. The Browns have beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers. How appropriate, turn the ball over on the last play. On the final day, the team president, Mike Holmgren, is here after helping build this team. Today he bows out, and these young players have come up with a quality win against a quality team.
Yeah, it's just a throwback, and they're playing schoolyard ball here, trying to make something happen. Sanders fumbles the ball. Robertson recovers it. Fumble is forced by T.J. Ward. This is Pat Shurmur's team got after the Pittsburgh Steelers today, forcing 8 turnovers in the ball game.
Still no update on Brandon Weeden. You'll have to check CBSSports.com for that information. A big win for second-year head coach Pat Shurmur. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47.